Ring the bell?
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm a loner, Daddy. I'm a rebel.
I am the walrus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast, where my friends stick with me for 3.5 years while we watch movies. Yay.
John, I love you.
Yep. And we've watched 100 of these movies.
Yeah.
Ish.
So to speak.
More than a
Well, if you count each time we watch Die Hard, then yes.
That's right.
It's, I'm pretty sure that we have several lost episodes that make it.
That's right.
Yep.
And
Lost for a reason.
Yeah, because he gave them to me. They were perfectly good.
So, this week on our special 100th episode and our final episode,
Spoilers!
that's right, John Hates Movies is coming to an end. I have
Yes!
killed.
Asshole.
Well, y'all know I never listen anyway.
What an ironic hipster.
I'm so sad.
No, in all seriousness, folks, we really appreciate you being with us this entire time and listening to every episode. And for some of you who have gone above and beyond and watched the movies with us, I can only say, I'm sorry.
Hey, Killer Mermaid was my fault, to be fair.
I say thank you. Thank you, like, listeners that actually listen to this podcast, like, and have listened to a lot of our episodes. You're my fucking hero. You're like the best. You like listen to us talk shit to each other every week. And
You're
it's
the real
amazing.
hero. You're the real MVP.
Yes.
So, John, who do we have with us this week?
Well, I will tell you, we have Eric Largent.
Telly Ho!
We have Chris Arsenault.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
We have James Barrow.
I'm gonna take a shit!
We have Colin McMillan.
And now it's time for your favorite part and mine, the game.
We have Jamie Donaldson.
Bill and Ted quote.
Party on, dudes!
69, dude.
Excellent. To each other.
And last but not least, Tabby, I always mess up her last name, Walters. Waters.
Yay!
Boy.
It's a tough one.
Thank you for being a friend.
Hey.
Listeners. I love you guys.
man.
I love
You're all
Golden
gonna
Girls.
jukebox.
I love cheese.
So this week, we're obviously not watching a movie, and we're not reviewing a movie. Instead, what we're going to do is just offer a little bit of retrospective. We're going to kind of chat John Hates Movies out in the style that you're very familiar with. You're going to hear some of our favorite parts. We're going to discuss some of our favorite parts of both the reviews and the games. You may catch on to some behind-the-scenes stuff, like apparently my habit of coin clinking. And we will probably wrap this thing up with a couple of heartfelt goodbyes, as well as
Goodbye, Chris.
yes, possibly
Who said that?
as well as possibly kind of discussing where some of us are moving on to and what sort of special projects we have in the works.
Yep.
So,
I'm moving on to a van down by the river.
yeah.
Pretty sweet band.
So I think
Got racing stripes and a wing.
I think we're going to start off here by just kind of talking about some of our favorite moments.
Yeah.
And as is John Hates Movies tradition, I'm going to go last on absolutely everything. So,
Well, I don't have anything to say that hasn't already been said. So.
Right.
Wait.
Good episode, guys.
And John agrees with everyone.
Yep, John agrees with everyone.
that's right.
It's a hard pass.
That's why it's named after. That's why it's named after me, because I obviously have the most insightful things to say. Which is, yep, I agree.
The secret of John hates movies is John hates movies so much that he doesn't even watch them, and that's why he always goes last, so he can just repeat everything that everyone else has already said.
Well, you guys basically said everything I wanted to say, so that does it for the review portion of the episode.
It's a solid
Stick around for your
strategy.
favorite part and mine. It's time for the game.
But after this short break.
Yeah.
But the game is really one of my favorite parts, so that's no lie.
So if we're going in the chronology of like how these episodes happen, at the end of episode 99, I won the game and I picked this to happen for this episode.
I want you gone.
This is all because of me.
So,
No.
Wow.
so your pick was to fire John?
I've got a game. It's not even like a written out game. It's just something in my head. We can do a game at the end of this if we want to.
Well, Eric always does have the best
of course.
I think we'd have to.
No, it's not. It's not even like. It's not even a good one. I don't have anything prepared for it. I just know what I want to do.
Well, then it's going to be just like every other game we've ever run.
Bullshit. I spent an entire day writing. I've spent like days writing games.
Which is funny because he spent days writing.
Eric is the king of games.
A choose your own adventure, and I spent like a half hour during a pod writing a choose your own adventure, and I killed Eric 3 times in that choose your own adventure.
Fucking classic John Hates Movies tradition, stealing Eric's game ideas and stealing Eric's ideas in general and taking them and doing something less cool with them.
So guys, I'll go first. I got notes.
Guilty.
Whoa.
Got some notes. Y'all ready for some notes?
Yeah.
Frankly, James, I have no idea what you're talking about.
James, you should actually go first with. So we're gonna do like remember berries podcast. Talk to me. What's your favorite stuff that you've done in this podcast, you man?
As we all know, I don't like member berries that much. So, all I'm going to do,
They're always a little too tart.
Yeah. So, all right.
Fuck this. I'm out.
I would say they're bittersweet.
All right. Now that Eric's gone, continue.
What the fuck?
Okay, so
all right,
so
Did Eric really leave?
I assume he's getting a beer.
I think he's getting
6 remain. Who is
his
next
best
to fall?
friend, a beer.
That was 2 friends. He came back with more than one. He came back with a whole crew, and he's going to hit the streets.
Wow.
All right. So, as for my favorite review that I did, it'd probably be the Fifth Element one. If you want to listen to it, go back and listen to it. I think that I will actually point out a couple things. Like, I did this song for the Babadook, and I don't think anybody heard it because the title of that episode was like Airplane and Super
Airplane
Secret
C2E2 Surprise.
Yeah.
Right.
So nobody even knows that we reviewed Babadook.
And I never made a YouTube video for it or anything like that. So honestly, what I think I'll do is I'll re-record it and remaster it, and it will drop right now. Three shop knocking on the door. Don't answer that, cause you can't be sure. Living with a problem child can be quite a strain. Or maybe it's a people from the pride parade. Not sure if it's scary or it's gay. He used to it, it's stuck here either way. You'll never stop cock rocking, no matter how she blocks. But you can at least let her sleep till 10 o'clock. There's a friend waiting here in the dark. So Baba-do-do-do, 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 come on fire. Do-do-do, Baba-do-do-do, Baba-do-do-do, come on fire. Whether it's in a word or in a book, you cannot get rid of Baba. And if you are a clever one, you know what to see. You can make friends with a special one for you and me. 3 sharp knocks, Baba, duck, duck, duck. You will see him standing if you look. He looks kind of funny, but beware what I said, because 'cause when you see his true face, you wish you were dead. There's a friend waiting here in the dark. So Baba, don't, Baba, don't, Baba, don't, I'm on fire. Don't, Baba, don't, Baba, don't, I'm on fire. Okay.
I'm on fire!
Wow, James, that was so
I
great.
wish I fucking did it before the pod.
Amazing. Actually, speaking of Babadook, I liked watching it with you guys because I remember Eric was watching my face to see when scary parts were.
I definitely saw
'Cause I had
more of the
seen it
inside
before.
of my hat during that movie than
Yeah.
the movie itself.
Yeah, but he read the cheat sheet. So
Yeah.
Not for that one.
It wasn't that one?
No,
that was Housebound.
No, no, that was the original Sharknado. Well, yeah, okay, Housebound,
yeah.
I did read the cheat sheet,
Right.
but the original Sharknado, our third ever episode, and it's a very good episode if listeners want to go back and listen to it. I didn't watch that movie, and I got fucking hammered because it was the World Cup finale. I got drunk during the World Cup finale, and then we recorded Sharknado and had a great time. And I didn't watch the movie. I still have never seen the original Sharknado.
You haven't seen the original? Oh,
That is
my God,
correct.
you're-
What?
And we've done 4 Sharknado episodes on this podcast.
Now there's a fifth one. I mean, what are we
There
gonna
is a
do
fifth
now?
one.
I mean, well,
Yeah, we have no reason to watch the fifth Sharknado.
Oh, I'm gonna
so
watch
I'm gonna watch it too. I
congratulations.
I watch these movies.
Hint,
Except
ladies
for the
and
first
gentlemen,
one.
keep the feed alive.
Yeah,
and
don't
tune into
delete
the
this
super
feed.
special episode of
The reunion tour.
Reunion
That
Sharknado.
drops now.
No, the 100th episode will not be delayed that late.
Oh,
Did you guys know that there's Sharknado slot machines?
Yes.
Yes.
were
I was
there
at
any at the
Caesar's
casino when you
Casino.
went there?
What?
I don't think I saw it.
So Tabby, you
Yeah.
weren't in on the party that we all went to for Colin's wedding.
Of course, it
that's
was a
that's
bachelor
coming up.
party.
It was a
Yeah, that's
bachelor
coming
party,
up
yeah.
shortly. Yes. So
Only
yes.
dicks
No,
allowed.
I was there. I was that dude with the beard and hat. I was in disguise.
Dave?
Oh shit!
Wait,
The guy that was always just kind of hanging around the edge of the group with the trucker hat.
Makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
He taught me how to play roulette. Thanks.
you know there was one member of the crew that night that really like made me think of that.
You're not gonna get me.
I'll play along. Who was it, Eric? What are you talking about?
Nope. That's not how it works.
Oh.
You were looking right
Did you hear
at me.
the sarcasm
I
dude.
know.
in my
I knew
voice?
what you
I
were
know.
laying out, but I should have just kept my mouth shut and let somebody else.
Let it happen.
I wish he was there. I really do.
Yeah.
Ah, that would have been awesome.
That would have been good
Yep.
if he showed.
But that's all I have to say, honestly. So that's the only work I'm going to be putting into this pod.
Yay!
So-
yes, and I'm sure
Anybody else
that I'm sure that clip will be ready the day after we publish.
Yep.
So, but don't worry, guys. We can go back and do a re-edit and add it
Hey,
in
hey
later.
guys.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
never happened.
This pod
ever.
is dropping Thursday afternoon.
It's dropping
No.
now.
So who wants to go next? Not me. Not it.
All right.
I'll do it.
Colin?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
Colin.
sure. I go. I do have a few favorite choice memories from John Hates movies.
Yeah, you've clued us in on a couple of them. One of them,
Well,
one of them's about making our friend feel bad.
All right, well, let's start there then. So, yeah, and this is a long. It began a pretty long-standing running gag or tradition, or maybe just rubbing salt in the wound.
Yeah, that last
But
one.
we had a guest appear on the show, and he can only be classified that because of what I did. He might have been a cast member, but because of me, he was merely a guest.
I think he was on like at
Early
least 2 or
on.
3 episodes.
I
Yeah.
think he was.
Yeah.
It was early on. Though.
Yes.
I mean,
Or
gosh,
first 10
so-
episodes.
Right.
Yes, first 10 episodes, and we're reviewing From Dusk Till Dawn. No, or was it Desperado?
Desperado.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
Because he won.
Well,
Dusk
so
Till
he
Dawn,
won
right?
Desperado, and then From Dusk Till Dawn, he was on a podcast and he liked it, and the rest of us hated it. And he was like,
That's
he went
it.
first, and he was like, "This is great," and then we were all like, "This is shit," and he was like, "Yeah, I guess it's shit."
So
Poor
was it that
Devin.
one? So was it that one where it was like during his review, everything he said, I was just like, no, that's bad. No, that sucks. No, that was terrible. Like, I just shut down every point that he made, and then he was just like, I'm not doing this anymore.
I think that was Desperado. Yeah.
I think that was Desperado, which is funny because I really, of course, this is classic Colin. I watch a movie and then I'm like, oh, I hated it, and then 3 months later I think about it and I was like, that was fun. You know, same thing happened with Mad Max. Sorry, Chris. But I guess it was Desperado then. Whatever it was, Devin's movie. It was close to his heart, and I trashed the movie and I trashed him bad enough that he just didn't want to come back anymore. And then every time his name was mentioned, I wouldn't acknowledge his existence.
Who?
Dave Thomas, founder of
Oh,
Wendy's.
yeah. Come on. I already know that doesn't work.
No,
as
that
soon
doesn't
as
count.
we
That doesn't
established
count.
that
That
joke,
doesn't
we
count.
established the Devin joke is outside of it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, that's the only time you can respond who is if somebody says
If
Devin.
somebody's talking about Devin.
But honestly, I actually kind of feel bad about that. I just think it's funny that it like got infused into the lore of John Hayes movies, kind of indelibly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to Devin. I'm sorry. Like your movie wasn't that bad. Your movie wasn't that bad unless it was From Dusk Till Dawn, because that sucked. And I hope it wasn't. I hope it was Desperado, because I could be like, yeah, bro, we're cool on Desperado. But if it's From Dusk Till Dawn, then you're gonna listen to this and you're gonna be like, oh man, fuck Colin. My favorite moment from any game is an Eric game, because I mean, Jamie's right. Eric does the best games. So my favorite game moment was for heavyweights.
Gotcha.
Eric came up with a choose your own adventure game, and it was really good.
Yay.
And
Thank you.
and Chris and I were like the first people to for real die. And we died because I don't remember what happened, but like we were being harassed by other campers, and we tried to make peace with them, and then we went and drank Red Bull and like did shots or something at the party. And
we went out in a sweet way. I'm just saying, not like punk bitches.
Yeah, they handed us like Hollister caps, and we became bros, and that's how we died. And I just thought that was funny because I was kind of like, wait, we died? That sounds like a win to me.
So Chris and Colin, you gather up your pointy sticks and smoke bombs and head out to the blob at dark. You know that if those dicks from the camp want to mess with the blob, they'll have to get through you first.
The blob!
No one stopped the blob.
After a few minutes,
Nothing can stop the bomb. Nothing can stop your bomb.
after a few minutes of waiting on the blob for the attackers to show up, you start to feel weak and shaky. You realize that you didn't bring any food for your adventure and are starting to get low blood sugar. You think that you might be able to hold out, though. 5 minutes later, you and your whole crew are passed out on the blob.
Awesome.
Nobody is awake to defend the blob when Camp MVP shows up. They cut the anchor rope and attach it to the back of their boat and drag it back to their camp. You wake up disoriented and weak the next morning. You have no idea where you are, but you can hear the whirring of blenders from the MVP mess hall. They're mixing up their morning protein shakes. You know they're disgusting, but at least it's food. It's either that or make a run for it back to the camp. Chris and Colin, what do? Do you go get food from the blender, or do you make a run for it back to Fat Camp?
Blender.
Protein shake.
You both going to get the shakes. All right.
Wait.
Do we need a
hold on.
split or?
You don't need to, but you could.
No, we gotta avoid the shakes. We need the protein.
That was my thought too.
Okay.
Okay, all right, we're going for the
Okay,
shakes.
well, Fat Eric is also out with you on the blob.
Okay.
So he'll make the run back to the camp. So Chris and Colin, you stagger into Camp MVP mess hall and spot the nearest blender. You can hear the nearest bro talking to you as you stagger up to it. Yeah, bruh, this is my special blend. Strawberry protein and a banana and some pre-workout pump mix. You entirely disregard the bro as you detach the carafe from the mixer and chug the shake in one big gulp. To your shock, it happens to be the most delicious thing you've eaten in your entire life. The other MVP campers are so impressed at your feats of eating that they welcome you into their camp as one of their own. Yes. You put on a backwards Yankees cap. and where
I want to point out, I'm pretty sure Eric shuddered after he said the statement, you put on a backwards Yankee cap.
You put on a backwards Yankees cap and wear cool stutter shades. James and Chris and Colin.
Wait, is that the death scenario?
Chris and Colin, you are a bro now. You are dead. Nope. You have to survive to the end of the Choose Your Own Adventure games. That's the only way you can win in those.
That's the only way. And if you retire a bro, that's the same as dying.
Yes, it is.
So, yes, it is. But it was fun because it was like we'd never done that before. It was new, and none of us really knew what to expect. And it was just so well constructed. So once again, well done on that.
Thank you.
I also have a favorite behind the scenes moment, which is kind of self-incriminating. So
do tell.
Yeah.
Gosh, it was at our 1 year, or maybe it was our 2-year anniversary or something. And it was when we were doing all the TV jingles and stuff.
Yeah. The summer anniversary special. Yeah.
Right.
The summer special 1 year anniversary. I had prepared
the 1 year
a parody of Believe It or Not, I'm Walking on Air, the Greatest American Hero theme.
Yeah.
That was good.
And I worked really hard on it. Well, thank you. But a little known fact, like, I'm pretty insecure about anything creative that I make. So there was this long text conversation between me and John where I was like, is it any good? I think it's garbage. I'm shit. I'm terrible. And he's like, no, man, it's good. It was like studio quality. And he's like, and he's just totally buttering me up, and like, he's just being a bro, but I was just in crisis. And it just made me laugh because it was such a stupid thing. And we all did like these goofy, fun, like just for shits and giggles stuff, but I took it so absurdly seriously, and I'll give it to my man Johnny because he like successfully talked me down from my self-loathing.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that. So I've been behind the scenes thing. We started this podcast in like May or June of 2014, and John edited all of the episodes through the first Christmas special, and then a little behind the scenes, John's work gets really crazy between January and like April, May of the year. And he was like, look, either somebody else is going to edit these episodes or we're not doing any more podcasts. So I was like, hey guys, I can do it. So at episode 20, Stand By Me, that was the first episode I edited. And I was like, I didn't know how to do it. And I just kind of like figured it out. And shouts to Tabby, who sent me a box, like mailed me a box of chocolate chip cookies for keeping the podcast going. Thank you, Tabby. That was amazing.
Damn.
Yeah, Tabby's awesome. Tabby's the coolest. And I'm super glad you're here today, Tabby. But so when that happened, and then all subsequent edits along the way, like, so I've there was a second there where me and John, like, I was editing 2 episodes and John would edit 1, and then, you know, like, we'd go back and forth. But yeah, I've done most, like, at this point I've done most of the episodes of John Hates Movies, the editing and all that stuff. And John has always been very like, no, dude, that was good. It sounds great. Like, he's very supportive of your like creative endeavors. So like, Colin, your thing made me think of that. Like, John's been a very good leader to have on this podcast, because he's very thank you for doing this good job for the podcast. Which, no, I'm serious.
Awesome show.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And you guys made it easy. You guys did great work. For example, we mentioned not just cookies of Tabby's, but I mean,
oh yeah, So
the
cookies,
all the artwork.
Yeah, cookies are the least of the things Tabby has contributed to this podcast. She's done all of our art.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's great.
Yes,
art.
it
Did
is.
we ever talk about this live on the
thanks,
pod?
guys.
Because I want to talk about my favorite behind the scenes thing.
What?
Before we went to C2E2 together, all as a group, the first year that we all went to C2E2, we were having like just a text thread, like behind the scenes about pod business and the C2E2 stuff. And somebody mentioned something about like, who's gonna, can you chip in for gas and something like this, and somebody mentioned
frog
greenbacks. Yeah, I'm getting that. Somebody mentioned greenbacks, which turned into frog dollars.
That's right.
And we show up to C2E2, and Tabby's got stacks on
Tabby has a
stacks of frog dollars.
Literal frog
Yes,
dollars.
she's-
Hold on, I've got one in the room with us
Yeah.
right now.
I have my stack of frog dollars somewhere. Like,
You still have
yes,
them?
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
I still have frog
I saved the
dollars.
frog dollars.
They look like
I have
a dollar
100 frog
bill.
dollars on the table right now.
Is that on the back?
On the back side, it's JHM 100. Like, it's fucking awesome.
Fucking
Yeah,
legit.
it looks
I
like
know,
a dollar,
it's so
but
good.
instead of George
take
Washington.
a picture of them
Yeah.
so that we can put it on
Yeah.
the
Post them,
page.
yeah.
In Frogs We Trust, this note is totes legal tender in Frogsville for use or trade for beer.
Man, frog dollars.
Well, I thought from the discussion that that's how we paid for, lodging at John's place was frog
Frog
dollars.
dollars.
So she just became the mint of JHM. Like there's
She single-handedly created and destroyed an economy.
I gotta say, instead of George Washington's face,
Super
it's
fun,
Kermit.
guys.
Right.
It's
Right,
a
yeah.
similar but distinctly separate version.
Legally distinct from,
yeah.
Similar
Yeah.
to, but legally distinct from
Kermit.
Legally.
Despite the fact that it says Kermit right underneath it.
No, that's Kermit,
Which is
not
why she
Kermit,
doesn't,
so.
why she didn't actually put, like, our pod information on there, because she's like, I don't want to be tied to, like,
This
blatantly ripping off somebody's
It also
intellectual
says
property.
asterisks. By legal, we mean not really.
Oh, frog
Tabby!
dollars.
Good
joke.
Like, seriously,
Like,
yeah, we need to post this because, like, the
I
attention
mean,
so
to
good.
detail she did
Okay.
on this.
Here,
was
I'm gonna
just-
take a picture of it
this-
right
this
now.
story has a twist ending.
Okay.
Because back when back when I had a girlfriend for many years, her sister was working at Burger King.
We cannot talk about girlfriends that have appeared on this podcast. There are like 2 or 3 episodes of this podcast that are just like they don't exist anymore because my
as
ex is
soon
on
as I
there.
meet a Hufflepuff, I forget them. So we're all good.
Oh.
wait, James. I'm a Hufflepuff.
I think I've been tested
Yeah,
into
you
Hufflepuff
know-
as well.
The hat is wrong sometimes. I
And
mean,
you
it's
notice
not a
when we
big deal.
came back, there were 2 people missing.
And we're back with the 5-man pod.
All right, but anyway, her sister was working at a Burger King, which was not in the same town as Lansing or any of us. Somebody walked in and paid, and in their payment was a frog dollar.
No.
Yes.
What?
No.
Yeah, because we just
No.
drop these frog dollars everywhere.
That's
Oh,
true.
that's
We
right.
that's right. At the con, we gave out frog dollars
I remember that.
to like anybody that would accept
This
them.
is true.
Yeah.
Aw, I'm so happy they're in the world. And
Not just the world, but
Oh my
in
God, that was so
circulation.
funny.
They're in circulation.
Who was wearing John Hates Movies t-shirts at that con? I was, and I
was.
think Johnny was. Because we had some people approach us being like, who are you guys? Are you guys famous? Are you guys somebody? And they like took information from us and stuff.
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure we gave everybody that did that at least one frog dollar. So
right, yeah.
I'm so glad frog dollars are in the
I
world.
never had a John Hates
Aw,
Movies
thanks,
t-shirt.
guys.
I only have pins. which Tabby also made.
Oh, yeah.
I still
I
have
also
a
made,
pin,
yeah.
I have a t-shirt, and I have a mug.
I still have to
I
buy
probably
one.
our best
I have my mug
or our
too.
highest purchaser for our John Hates Movie store.
You know, and I never got a royalty check from those. To this day, I still haven't amassed enough like change to get a check.
I still use my Vlarf Industries mug.
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
me too, every day.
I'm the only
It's
one
a
who
great
didn't pick
mug.
one up. I
It
really
is a
need
good
to
mug.
pick one up
It's a,
before you close the store down forever.
Get your Vlarf merchandise now.
Right, yeah, but it's going out of business sale.
How about
AKA, it's not on sale. It's just still for sale.
So John, how about you give a hard end date for the closing of the store so it lights a fire under my ass?
What?
And for those listening, to give them the last chance to find
Well, it's 3 weeks from today, James.
Okay.
So one of the earliest things that one of the earliest behind the scenes dramas in John Hates Movies was me it was me and Johnny having beef, and it was because I started like taking over hosting, like doing host things on the podcast instead of John. So in the theme of that, Tabby, we've been talking about you for a while. Big ups, you're the best. Tabby, what are your favorite moments from John Hates
I
see what you did
let
there.
it slide now. I don't even care.
So just FYI, because I don't think
Is there
I
audio?
remember this, but there's still there were Turbo Lawn shirts.
Oh yeah, Turbo Lawn shirts.
Yes.
Shout out to my guy Ryan Hafer. He did some supplemental graphic design work for us. Designed a Turbo
That's
Lawn
right.
shirt.
Oh, that's
Ryan
right.
Hafer, we all met him at Jeff Con this year. Well, we all met him. I've known him forever. He's my guy. He's listened to all, or if not, like most of our episodes. Ryan, shout out to listening to us. Thank you.
Hey, while we're
Yay,
talking
Ryan.
about supplemental graphic design, let's not forget Jamie's Beverly Hills Wolf Cop design, which was pretty rad.
All right, so circling back around, Tabby.
Yes.
Yeah, what do you remember nicely about the podcast? You were on the Master podcast.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun, like, hanging out with you guys and doing all this stuff. I have to say, John is my favorite freelance client because I'll be like, here's a bunch of ideas and let me know if you have any changes. Like, this is cool. I'll post it. And I'm like, yeah, but you can make changes. No, this is fine. This is great. And I'm like, everyone else, client-wise, if any clients are listening, you are wonderful people. I love you. This isn't you that I'm talking about. Right? Everyone else is like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could change the color. And this line is like 2 centimeters too tall and da-da-da. And they like make minute changes that actually don't change the design at all, but they feel like
Yeah,
they're,
they just have to have. they just have to give you notes of yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a thing,
Yeah.
Tabby. I was doing art for people all the time. They're like, we just need the lines to be heavier and darker. And it's like, but it's black. And they're like,
and it's like
heavier and darker.
Heavier and darker. And people are afraid of white space. So if there's any like white space, they're like, we could totally put more in there. We could fill another graphic. Let's just make it awesome. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, space is good.
Space is good. Yes. You want people to have, something to look at and not just be blind.
Yeah, but
Design.
Tabby, I feel like I can see where John's coming from on this one here, though, because like your designs are good.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
Yeah.
If they're good right off the bat, it
Amazing.
makes sense that he has no changes.
The shirt I own is the now with more loaded baked potato.
Yeah.
And a note on that. I was wearing it like 2 weeks ago. I was in a gas station. I was paying at the counter. The guy reads my shirt. He's like, John Hates Movies. What is that? I'm like, it's a podcast, but like I also knew that we were kind of on the way out, so I didn't want to be like, you should listen to it.
You should really listen to it.
John Hates Movies. What's that? Oh,
something.
Defunct podcast.
Nothing.
You guys, I tried to get my mom to listen, but she still thinks I'm on the radio right now. So, no, but really, like my favorite parts of the podcast itself, not behind the scenes working, is I love when you guys have those special guests. There's this one girl. What's her name? Tabby, I think it is.
Oh,
Every time
she
she
was
has
very
very
good.
insight.
You know, I'm
I know,
a little
like-
surprised that your favorite is not having to do an episode with Rania on the
No, that
on
was
the
the
April Fool's
bomb.
episode.
Yeah, the All Girl Cast podcast of John Hates Movies was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I can see where you guys go for like just incredibly way longer than an hour just talking about stuff and like
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
It's really easy
Yeah.
to do.
Although we get it, we have it down to a science now because we all hate each other now.
As,
Which is why
as
we're
soon
going our
as,
separate
as soon
ways.
as we got it down to a science,
The science is a half hour of bullshit. We record for an hour for the episode, about a half hour for the game. We're out the door with the finger in the air.
Chris, you're forgetting the half hour that people are late.
people,
I don't know what we're talking
Whoa.
about here.
yeah.
people are late. What
Yeah,
people could you be speaking
sometimes
of?
people are late. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes
Stuff
people are
happens,
late.
you know?
You know what? Sometimes you don't have your order ready in time when you're at Taco Bell, and you end up having
I mean,
to
I
wait
was-
for them to deliver out through the front door. And
I had a Taco Bell lateness episode
Mhm.
today, in fact, and I rolled in at 4:03 and was feeling pretty bad about myself.
So Tabby, what are some of your favorite? Like, do you have a favorite moment from any of our games?
From your games. Well, before we get to games, can I just say that I do actually legit real. I love your guys' commercials. They are the funniest things in the
thank
world. John, you have like gotten together a bunch of creative people, and it's just
Yes, I have.
you have such talented friends, and it's made this
Oh.
podcast really
No talent
awesome.
of my own. But I have
Exactly.
tons
No,
of
no, no.
talented
Your
friends.
talent is accumulating talented people around you.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's what
Yeah,
I say.
I'm-
John has a talent for
Yeah.
organizing people.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like fucking that Apple nerd was banging out code himself or building phones himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
That's true.
sometimes
Woz.
it's seeing the image, or seeing the product.
Yeah, John's more of a Jobs, not a Wozniak.
Jobs.
Yep.
It's true.
I think John.
That's not even really a joke.
John's
No, it's not a joke.
You have such
P.S.
an awesome
Chris is our
personality
Wozniak.
that people just creative want to be around you. So, yeah, I love you, John.
James might be our Wozniak.
Chris, yeah, well, okay, maybe me, Chris, and James all take parts of Wozniak,
Right.
Because
Yeah.
like I
That is true.
make the episodes.
Right. We make the pod function in our own special ways.
Chris, so Hot Sauce Studios right now is full of audio equipment that 4 people are recording a podcast on. It all belongs to Chris. Like he
I have
bought
put
it and
something
set
like
it all
about
up.
$160 in total into like audio equipment for the podcast.
Yeah.
Over the years.
And then James brings that like little touch of insanity magic.
Aw.
Which makes the rest of us look that much better. Dude's fucking insane. Okay, this guy's not. We'll listen to this guy.
All right, speaking of Hot Sauce Studios, are you guys going to review your hot sauce that you're making, Eric? I'm just curious.
Yes, we are. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
The Hot Sauce Committee will be back
Yes.
this fall. You can come over to my house right now. I will show you my peppers. Chris saw them this afternoon.
They're pretty big.
They're fucking huge!
That's awesome.
I got the biggest peppers on the biggest side of the street on the biggest town.
I keep on
Woo!
from Eric. I get unsolicited pepper picks.
I
And one
d-
from the side.
Yeah, he's just like, check this out.
What do you think?
I feel like showing off. Want to see?
See, as a
that's
woman,
great.
I've got
We're gonna have to see your
unsolicited
dick, Eric.
dick pics, but I've never got unsolicited pepper pics. Man, I'm missing all the fun.
Tabby, I'll send you one. Don't worry.
Thank you, Eric.
I'm like on the bus, and my mom's next to me, and it's like pepper.
Yeah,
Damn it.
listeners, if
And this one has a top hat and a monocle.
listeners,
Someone
if
looks
you
like he's smoking.
if you are interested in your very own bottle of the Hot Sauce Committee hot sauce, I am fucking growing it in my backyard right now. It will be available this fall, and it's gonna taste like the fucking bomb because
When in the
Yeah,
What?
when in the fall?
Vaguely in the fall, goddamn.
I'm just waiting.
well, in time for my birthday.
Yes,
Yeah,
you will have it for
probably.
your birthday.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm just
Sweet.
waiting for this shit to ripen, and then I'm gonna turn it into the best hot sauce the world has ever seen.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you want some, hit me up on Facebook. I will get you some.
I want some.
Yes, I want
All
some.
right.
We want
gets
some of your action, Aaron. Woohoo!
Hot sauce for everybody.
Yay!
You get a hot sauce.
You get a hot sauce.
You get a hot
I'm
sauce.
serious. That's what this next Christmas is going to be. Is me just giving hot sauce to everybody.
Eric,
Does your,
I can't wait
does
to
your
try
hot
your
sauce
hot
have a
sauce.
name yet?
Well, another behind the
Eric
scenes
Large.
thing.
This is my favorite behind the scenes.
Another behind the scenes thing. So we have a chat that we are all a part of, and I started making jokes. Like I did a picture of Bob Seger, and it said "Night Moves Souse." And then I did a picture of Bon Jovi. I put "Slippery When Souse."
What are some of the other ones?
I don't even remember now.
But
It was ages ago.
so it's just like classic rock sauce.
Sauce.
So I feel like I'm gonna name the sauces after like classic rock bands or
Then it
classic
still
rock
works
artists.
to refer
Oh, there's
to
gonna
it
be
as,
multiple.
as Hot Sauce Studios.
Yeah.
Hot sauce. So
Yeah.
perfectly well.
Yeah.
Who's that crazy right wing guy, that Infowars guy? Alex Jones.
Alex Jones, yes.
Goblin sauce. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe he's sleeping with goblins, kissing goblins, maybe even loving goblins.
This hot sauce turns the frogs gay. Turns the freaking frogs gay.
It's not
I'd
human taste buds,
Wow.
okay?
I'd like to see a hot sauce named after another one of my favorite behind the scenes moments,
What's that?
which was it was the first Chicagoland trip. I think this was also the first
Yes.
C2E2 when we we're all playing Super Smash Brothers because if you haven't caught after 100 episodes, if you haven't caught on, we're all a bunch of nerds. So
I was
so
super
we
smashed while we played Super
yeah,
Smash.
he was
fucking drunk.
Eric's too wasted to play. So
I
we
was
took
jumping off the edge.
Yeah. We took an amiibo of Bowser and we named it. We tried to name it Eric Large, but we didn't have room, so we just named it Eric Large. and we just kept Eric Large plugged in for as long as we were playing. And if y'all don't play Super Smash Brothers, amiibos learn and get better as you play.
Eric Large was kicking our ass.
After like 20 minutes, we were like, Eric Large was just killing everybody. so Eric Large is this virtual version of Bowser who's incredibly violent and hates the rest of the podcast. And I just that was when Eric Large became part of the mythology.
Yes.
That's right. You know.
Yes, it did.
So
Eric Large
please-
is still sitting on a shelf in Johnny's living room right now.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's still out
Aw.
there waiting to strike.
So, who do we have that hasn't gone yet? Me,
Jamie.
and
Jamie, Chris, me,
Chris, and Eric.
and Johnny.
Okay. So, who's
Oh, yeah,
next?
Tabby just went. I'll go.
All right.
Get it out there before someone walks all over me.
Ah,
Anyways, I
another
forgot
John
to
Hates
say-
Movies
Oh,
tradition.
yeah.
Okay,
Impossible.
so behind the scenes, one of my favorite beefs is how much Chris and Colin pretend to hate each other on the podcast, but when it's in real life, they're like a fucking love fest.
Yes, we've been known to run across beaches to hug each other.
It's true.
Through fields of grain.
Chris and I in reality really like each other a lot.
Yeah, there was that moment at C2E2 we couldn't just pull you guys apart. You were just like,
Yeah.
I love you, man.
Well, that was for the fans.
Yeah.
They're all shipping us. So you know. So okay, Chris was the first time I met you when you were dressed like the henchman from Venture Brothers, or was that like the second?
No,
okay.
that was probably the first time. So that was like, oh my god! At this point, like 8 or so years ago,
Yeah.
Halloween. James is dressed as like an '80s,
Rocker.
hair metal,
Guy.
and I'm dressed as henchman 23.
Nice.
But now I know that was during the time where I was well known for the worst Halloween costumes
Oh, yes.
among not just my own social circle, but any social circle.
Wow.
I just could never come up with anything, and then it would be like 2 days before Halloween, I'd be like, oh, fuck, I don't have anything. So I never had a good costume, and in rolls this guy who has like a great costume of a property that I love.
I even had like a set of foam board wings.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was.
That costume was pretty fucking on point. To be honest.
Yeah. If you were going to do a Monarch henchman costume, you really could barely do better than the one that Chris made. And now it was love from the start. It was love at first sight. I was like, this guy's awesome.
I'm really
and
sad.
Colin was a banana.
Oh my god.
Was that the banana year, or was that Dead Tired? I can't remember.
No, Dead Tired came later.
Oh god, my shame.
I'm really sad the year I was at C2E2 with you guys. Chris and Eric had these awesome costumes that they made out of cardboard. But it was pouring rain when we got there, and we're like, this is going to disintegrate.
We had amazing cardboard. I had, which I actually ended up wearing later for a Halloween. I used it. If you haven't seen the pictures on Facebook, I did a cardboard samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice. And Eric was a cardboard centurion. I made another. Well, my dad had made one for like a thing that. I also have pictures of Eric in that one, but his original one was fucking awesome, and I'll have to like post those pictures.
Yes.
Because I have them from when we made them. Because he made this like giant like mega helmet out of a
like a Natty Light.
Yeah, like
box.
a Natty Light.
It was a Miller High Life. I'm back from the bathroom. Yes, it was a Miller High Life box.
It was amazing.
It
had the perfect shape of awesome. But yeah, so my favorite behind the scenes moments are pretty much every fucking episode. The half hour to hour we spend, talking shit to each other, unless they're talking about like a specific show or
The Wire
that I have absolutely no interest.
How about
or
The Wire?
The
Wire is the quick. If we start talking about The Wire, it's the quickest way to get Chris to fucking tap out.
That's another one of my favorite behind the scenes.
Me too. I haven't seen it.
And one of my favorite behind the scenes is anytime I watch The Wire.
So yeah, admittedly, there have been a number of times, and usually, like I said, occasionally it'll happen beforehand, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, can we get the pod? Like, those would be the only times, like, hey guys, maybe we should start the fucking pod. The only ones worse than that is like when we've had a long day, we're kind of chatting about pod business at the very end, and then they get sidetracked by more like The Wire topics. But then I'm like, for fuck's sake, I just want to take off my headphones and leave.
Eric and I love The Wire. What can
John
you say?
said he had a point to make during afterwards. But other than that, it's always great fun. Like I said, a very, very specific thing can't come up with at the moment. But I think on the pod, I think as much as I get really annoyed with them when you guys call me out on my just terrible speech through the blackmail, just a number of times where I just clobbered my words as they came out of my mouth.
I feel like we have a clip from that coming somewhat soon.
Yeah. Dropping now.
Dropping now. My favorite consciously funny one, like I said, it was from a game, and I don't remember who was running it or what movie it was from, but we were doing haikus.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I
did
remember
the haiku.
those.
It was, I don't even remember the haiku anymore, but the last line was
hookers need love too.
Strippers are people too.
Yes.
Like that. So like we will insert that so you can enjoy the actual awesomeness.
Man with empty hands. Strippers need love too.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, we'll play that so you guys can enjoy the goodness of that.
First up on our second round of John Hates Movies Haiku-a-thon. Chris, talk to me. What's your haiku?
Love with empty hands. Prostitutes have feelings too. I am so alone.
Oh no.
That's fucking good.
That's terrible.
I was gonna say, other than that, still to this day, hate that you guys love the Convoy movie.
Whoa!
No, we got beef. Fuck you.
That's
You're
right.
my friend.
And
That was
I
the
want
episode
to
that put us on the map.
reestablish only one of you so far has apologized for being wrong about Mad Max.
I wasn't wrong about Mad Max.
Wait, did you agree with me?
I like that movie.
Oh, then the rest of you, I'm still waiting for it.
My opinion of that movie has not changed.
I've got some revisionist history working right now.
Let me do one more thing on this, because I think the last thing I got going for me. I love the fact that you guys have begrudgingly respected my decision to not let you guys do Starship Troopers.
we made it 100
numbers
episodes.
will be off the chart.
We made it.
I know that was yeah, that's the one that could have made us the money, but it's about the art and our friendship.
Yep.
So yeah, I
Did you enjoy doing this podcast? Because
Turn that up.
Perfect response.
if we're all being honest, most times
had there been time. Okay, the last I would say
you were the first person to quit the podcast.
No.
Then Colin quit the podcast.
I took a break.
Wait, did I actually quit the podcast?
Let me explain something. Early on,
Yes, no, neither
early
of you
on,
actually quit the podcast.
early on,
You're here now.
before we established some ground rules about rebuttals, and I think it was the Mad Max episode that drove me to
absolutely.
this, where I took a hiatus
Yeah.
because I was angry with all of you.
we texted about
so
that.
wrong.
We texted about that, homie.
I'm like,
I know it.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And like I said, it came down to, like I said, we ended up establishing some rules that, okay, we're going to do some properties that we might have strong feelings about, that the other guys might not really agree with you, but it gives you what we'll do, because you go first, then we go, then you are given a chance to have the final say on this,
Which we totally never did.
Well, we never did.
Well, we did it like a couple times.
We never needed it,
Right.
to the extent that I needed it for Mad Max. The funny thing about that, I had a friend at the time. I don't know if he still listens, but John Dufort, one of our biggest fans from back in the day.
Yes.
He I had run into him maybe a week or so after that aired. And he's like, "Those assholes! That's such a good movie." I'm like, I know, right?
All right, so this is a question for main cast, like Colin, James, Chris, Johnny, Eric. How many times have you, while you're just alone in your thoughts, for me, it's when I'm in the shower in the morning. How many times have you mentally quit the podcast?
Never.
I remember
once,
early
and it's
on,
now.
but like I said, I did hiatuses to get through it.
So for me, I quit the podcast 10 times in the shower on Friday morning, because we record Thursday night, and I'd be Friday morning, I'm still salty. I'm like, those guys are fucking assholes. I don't need to do any of this. I don't need to do all this work for nothing.
That's another thing.
Fuck these guys. I quit the podcast, and then a couple days goes by, and hey, are we recording on Thursday? Yeah.
I would say since we did our full hiatus, coming back from that, everything has been so much smoother and
Yes.
a lot more civil and happier with
Yes.
things overall.
Yes.
But yes, I can't count how many times this is back when we recorded in the basement.
Yeah.
How many
Before
times,
Hot Sauce Studios.
Before Hot Sauce Studios, how many times I thought Eric was going to punch both me and James in the face and walk out, because we would either step on him, step on his words, or just rile him up to such a point where there was no way to convey how fucking angry he would appear.
So around the middle section of the podcast, I started getting really protective of the podcast, and I thought that this was going to be something special, and I really wanted it to I didn't want any I wanted it to all be perfect. So every time I would have a joke and somebody would step on it, I would get fucking mad. I would get fucking mad. And so the only episode of the podcast I have never listened to still to this day is the Labyrinth episode, because there were 6 of us and Todd, and I wish Todd was here. Shout out Todd Meter. He's another one of our guys that's been on the podcast a few times. He's a great dude. He loves David Bowie. So Todd was like in our chat on Facebook. Todd was like, if you guys are talking about Labyrinth, I'm going to be there. And like that just started it off with me. Like in my head, I was like, nobody can just demand to be on our podcast. Serious. But he had been on it a bunch of times and he's our friend. I was like, fuck him. He can't just like say he's going to be on our podcast. So then we start recording the podcast and I'm like trying to do my notes and people are all like stepping on me and Todd's like, no, Eric, it's okay that you don't like, it's okay. And I'm like, I know it's okay. Let me fucking talk. And I got really mad and I had hurt feelings. And I've never listened to that episode still to this day. Todd, but Johnny, after that episode, John was like really worried that there was like actual drama between me and Todd. So like when we had Todd on later episodes, John would text me like, hey man, is it okay? You know, like, are you okay with us having Todd? I was like, I like Todd. Todd's my friend. But that episode sucked and I was mad.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I mean, honestly, like I said, with the exception up until just recently, when I made the decision to retire this after the, to be fair, we did actually discuss keeping this thing going after I left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we all had other things that we want to do, other creative endeavors that we wanted to pursue, so we just figured to retire it. But I'm trying to think if there was a part before this where I was done, because I feel that there was. And I think it was
that when we went on a hiatus?
I think that's when we went on a hiatus.
Yeah.
And what was it? When was that? That was
for summer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, we
I thought it was after Christmas.
It was. We did like 2 or 3 episodes after Christmas. We did Galaxy Quest, and then we and so after Galaxy Quest, we recorded the Warriors episode, but it just never came out. Because and now it's lost. It's not on any of our hard drives anymore.
That was a great episode.
It was a good episode.
So we recorded Warriors and God Bless America. I'm sorry, Jamie.
No, it's all right. I was going to talk about that when it came my turn.
So that episode still exists. It just hasn't come out, and it was really fucking contentious. And we just.
That was the one that broke me.
Yeah, and we didn't do the podcast.
The God Bless America broke you?
No, Jamie. The Star Wars Christmas
we were all so
episode
tired of editing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Jamie, that's a pretty good segue. You picked Actually,
I'm going to reassert myself as host here for a moment.
Great. Thank you.
I'm going to say, let's take a little break because I need a tiny little break, and then we'll let Jamie ride us on in.
About 6 months ago, it seems there was a show, a medieval comedy like when things were rotten. But the network had it stout, and Netflix took it out, so I guess now it's gone but not forgotten. Action, adventure, the show has everything. It's likely if the cast could sing, and so they could not get the rights to remake Men in Tights, so we're stuck watching Galahad. The show's about a knight and his beleaguered plight through Paris life that's now turned tragic. It's all in his theme song, but I'm sure I'll get it wrong. But trust me guys, it's fan-fucking-tastic. The songs are good, and the dialogue's punchy. It's all gayer than two cocks touching. Who cares? It's got panache and flair, and it's filmed at your unfair. So shamefully watch your Galahad. Or sci-fi, so fucking watch it before nerds ruin the show. It'll be the next Deadpool, or the next Doctor Who, or maybe the next fucking Firefly. There is only 24, and then I'm making more. There's nowhere to watch Galavan. True, I've seen half on Hulu. I don't know what to do. So Netflix, bring back Galavan. Come on, Netflix, I'm losing patience. Kick your ass all into the Matrix. So come on and do your worst. I'll fucking torrent first. Oh God, I love you,
We're back. So Jamie,
I actually have a lot that's, as everybody's bringing up good stuff. I
Yeah,
was thinking
no,
about all
say
these
everything.
Great,
Say
about
everything
all
you
these
want.
great things, and the first great thing was when Chris took his hiatus, because that's when I got to step in.
You're welcome. Well, yeah, both Chris and Colin were like, yeah, we need to do less at about the exact same time. And
Right.
and it was just like me, James, and John. And we're like, okay, so what are we going to do now?
Well, Colin had that Run Fair acting thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and Colin
Yeah.
was out doing Run Fair.
Yeah.
So when they brought me in, my first movie was kind of a tough one. It was Dear White People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
oh, Jamie, I want to say there was a joke, or it wasn't even a joke. You didn't even know you were doing it. But
No, yes, I know. I know the joke.
The director of Dear White People is Justin Simeon, and he's a black guy. And Jamie goes, "Oh, Simeon, like the monkey." And I was like,
I said like a monkey.
Still no, not much
and I was like,
better.
"No,
Yeah, and then and it's just like,
Oh,
what?
no.
You know, simian monkeys is like, oh, right. Monkey is a racial term. I
Right.
forgot.
oh,
Way to go, Jamie.
Yeah, I know. So that did not make the final cut.
no, it didn't. That one had to go. And don't worry,
Totally unintentional.
I have a whole file of James's racist / racial
kept
jokes.
them?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and now they're gonna drop now.
No, no, they're not.
You never do the fun stuff.
But you should post that
Aw.
on. You should post that on the Google Drive for the rest of us, at least.
Yeah, I want to hear them.
Oh god.
Yeah.
So then after the Dear White People, you guys brought me in and you treat me like one of your own, and I actually won the game
Yeah.
for Dear White People. So
Yeah.
I got to pick, and it was for Spooktober.
Yeah.
So I picked
Yep.
the Reanimator,
Yeah.
which is one
Oh,
of
I
those
remember
lost
that.
episodes.
No, that.
Oh, no.
Didn't that one come out?
I was on
It did not.
I was in.
It
I
did
was on
not.
that episode.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yep, the Reanimator was a lost episode because I guess what happened is that John
Kevin
was
was
really
horrible.
sick at
I
that
know.
point, and there were a lot of sniffles and pops and stuff on the recording,
Ooh.
and everybody's levels were all messed up, and it's just like, yeah, it's unsalvageable.
I remember. Yeah,
And-
that was the one that was like all weird and choppy.
Or something like that. I don't even
Almost
know
as if
because
it
I
was
was the new
haunted.
guy. I had no idea what was going on. And I was just like, oh man, it kind of cut, not really my episode, but I picked the movie and I had to run the game.
Yeah.
And I believe for the game, I did some kind of like anatomy lesson.
Yeah.
Where I
Yeah.
I
picked,
remember
Yeah.
that episode.
I picked weird sounding, body parts,
Yeah.
and everybody had to guess what they were.
Yeah.
And, it was fun, but nobody heard it. And I also, my second episode, I got my first Dave Thomas burn. And nobody heard that either.
The Sharknado 3 episode, which came out much later, we shelved that for a very long time, and then we dropped it when we came back, we dropped the Sharknado 3 episode as like a filler between weeks that we wanted to take off.
Yeah.
And that was the episode where Jamie joined us in person in
Yeah,
where
that's a good story too.
That was awesome.
So,
Tell the story.
Yeah.
how long was it that you had been on the pod with them before?
I want to say it was about 2 months.
Chris and Jamie were next door neighbors.
Never knew it. Until like literally the last opportunity for him to come over.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Are you for real?
before he left that house, he was a block, essentially on the same block, but on the other side of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I described where I gave him my address, where I was staying at my dad's at the time, and he was at this place that he was just like in the process of packing to move out of.
Yeah.
And I told him where I was. He told me where he was. I'm like, wow, you're like really close. And he's like, Eric, go in the backyard.
Yeah, shine a flashlight. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're waving at each other from the backyard. It's like, come on over. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome.
That was pretty cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, cool, except that I wish I knew about that, 2 months prior.
Right.
But the thing was, it actually probably wouldn't have worked at that point because Chris was on hiatus from the show.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I told them at any point if they wanted to record there, they were welcome to do it. I just wasn't going to be on the episode.
You know what would have been great is just to hear Chris laughing in the background as you guys talk about things. That would have been a nice bonus. Yeah.
that would have been good.
Chris isn't here. He's just laughing in the background.
Fuck you guys!
He's on a vacation with Sasquatch.
So, it was just a
Now
great
in
way
front
to
of
meet
our
these
live
guys.
studio
And
audience.
I got to know Eric really well, and I got to know, I've known James for a little bit, but I got to see him again and get to know Chris. It was also at that time when I went over to his house for the first time. He's like, "Oh yeah, we were talking about getting a computer for Jamie together."
Chris gave you a computer.
And Chris gave me a computer
Wow.
the first day I met him.
Okay, listeners,
Holy shit!
listeners, we've talked about how everything that we're recording on right now is owned by Chris Arsenault, the fucking man. Also, the computer that's fucking saving this episode and that I do all of the editing on, Chris fucking made. It was an old LCC server that he put
It's a workstation. Long story short, it was a surplus machine that he built
fucking
up
souped
for-
up.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he sold it to me at cost, basically.
Actually, I think what I did, I sold him a video card and gave him a computer for free.
Yes.
As I recall.
This is like a long way of saying Chris is genuinely probably the most generous person I've known in my entire life. That's the
Finally,
truth.
someone gets me.
No, that's the absolute truth.
I know. I had only just met him, and they were talking about kind of like in the air. It's like, well, maybe Chris has something that he can like throw together for Jamie because he's working off a laptop where the screen doesn't come on every time.
He's always got like 4 computers in the corner of a room somewhere.
So like he had this tower. It's like a Cooler Master tower. It's like an aftermarket tower, and he filled it full of stuff. I think it even has like a quad core processor in it, and Intel. It does. Okay, I don't.
6600. I know what's in it.
All right. So he put this thing together. He's like, I just put Windows on it. What do you want your name to be? I was like, whatever. I just put it as I don't know. It's running. It's working. Do you want to take it? I'm like, sure. How much do you want for it? He's like, nothing. No, seriously, I got to give you something for it. I mean, even the case alone is probably worth at least $60-$70. It's like, just take it. It's taking up space.
That's
around here.
Chris Arsenault.
He would not take any money or anything from
Also
me.
kind of convenient because, as he mentioned, I was moving out of that place, so it's one less thing I had to move.
That
It wouldn't matter, so I would have just given it to him.
It worked out for me though, so I am forever in debt to Chris for that. So I think that counts as a John Hates Movies.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yep.
That's great.
Just meeting new people and stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of the actual podcast, I have lots of fond memories of that as well. I'm having a hard time trying to determine what my favorite game was. Both of them were Eric games, of course. But
No. Oh, you guys.
one of them,
Eric, you're good at games. Just take it.
Oh, you guys.
still one of the funnest games I can think of was the Wrestler versus Monster Truck game.
Oh my god.
Fucking game.
The best fucking game because it's like,
Listeners, that's the Roadhouse episode if you want to go
Is that
back and
what it
listen
was?
to it. Yeah.
that was the Roadhouse episode, which was also a very good episode because
Yep.
it's a totally ridiculous movie
Yes, it is.
with a fitting ridiculous game.
Yes.
Can you guys do that game twice though? Because I remember it happening again.
yeah,
No.
James
Just
ripped it off
like
later.
Oh,
Every
James
single,
ripped it off.
just like every single Eric game, I did it the first time really well, and then somebody else did it not as good the next time.
It wasn't James, it was me.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
listeners.
no!
I'm sorry, listeners. I'm outing myself as a fucking asshole.
It wasn't James, it was me. I can go into that later, but
okay, so I'm probably wrong. I'm not outing myself as an asshole right
We
now.
already know.
Right.
I already know you're not an asshole.
You've listened to 100 of these episodes. You already know I'm a fucking asshole.
It's okay. We
And
love you, Eric.
I get
Spoiler,
really touchy
guys.
about my projects, and I start like projecting bullshit onto my friends.
Spoiler, guys. Eric thinks he's the biggest asshole, which he's not at all.
All right, okay. So I'm going to jump in here because if you're examining history over the long term,
Oh my god, are we gonna have an asshole contest?
the biggest asshole, without a doubt, is John.
Well, yeah, if we're like devoiding the John Hates Movies context from it, then yes.
Yes, waited over time. Talking about lifetime.
Yes.
Waited over time. John is the biggest asshole. and I'm not going to tell anybody why, although I have on previous episodes. But if anybody else wants to jump in with examples, feel free.
No, we can not do that. Please, Jamie, continue.
Colin's told me stories about how when Colin used to like a girl, John would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm with her now."
John
you
just
know-
quit, everybody.
Well,
A little earlier than he thought.
We even put that into the first Christmas special because in Eric's sketch, a Scrooge sketch, the Ghost of Christmas Future, Eric takes John into the future where I'm married to Christina Ricci.
Sorry, I was John McClane.
That's right, you were John McClane. You were the ghost of John McClane, and he takes John into the future, and we changed the line because you were like, yeah, he's married to Christina Ricci now, and we changed the line so John just goes, well, she sounds awful.
Yeah, like Colin's finally with his dream girl, and John's like, she fucking sucks.
She sounds awful.
Oh goodness!
I love that.
Sorry,
line.
Johnny, you had to.
That was a
you
good
have to
one.
understand. There's going to be some of this on this episode.
It's the memories and roast of John Barry.
Yes.
So Jamie,
the other game that is one of my favorites, also an Eric game, but I would also say that it was more of an event because we actually got Eric's dad to be on the podcast. That was the one where he posed questions that were either Star Wars or Christmas oriented, and we all had to guess trivia style what his dad would guess, and it was just so awesome because we heard the legends, but actually hear the man.
It's true,
and it was just awesome. It was just like so hilarious, and we just couldn't stop laughing. It's like how we always wanted to be a forest ranger and stuff like that.
That's every kid's
It was
dream.
so perfect.
It's every
That's
kid's
every
dream.
kid's dream.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only bit that I remember that was actually only
feelings.
Yeah,
that I actually felt pretty good about
Colin, I've got feelings, man.
was the
I know.
Ewoks sketch for the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Which came together a lot better than I thought it would.
I loved that. I thought that was great.
So-
I was a big fan.
So that was in the second Christmas episode. Jamie did the Ewok sketch. My second favorite thing, and so Jamie mentioned my dad game, but my other favorite thing from that episode, Colin's D&D Star Wars sketch.
Yeah.
Colin, you deserve so many shouts out and kudos for that because that was really good. And if we just if anybody that script and just the way that it went down, if that being out there, that's a really good thing, and it deserves to be out there.
That was a very well written and very nerdy sketch.
So good.
Yeah.
It was a tribute to it was a tribute to our Big Trouble in Little China episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's blow this thing and let's get drunk. No, Colin, that was the best written thing that we that's the best scripted thing that we've had for the podcast. That's my call. I'm saying. I'm serious. Go back and listen to it. It's so
James
good.
is pshawing.
Thank you. I thought not to go hard on Christmas, but I thought Special Christmas Unit was pretty fucking good, though.
Thank you, Colin.
That was really good.
Me and Colin love fest right now.
It's hard not to go hard on Christmas because some of our great our greatest work is in Christmas, in
Those-
the Christmas episodes.
Yes,
Those-
your Christmas episodes are my favorite
Yes.
part of Christmas.
Absolutely.
Aw.
I listen to our Christmas episodes before Christmas every year. Like
Yeah.
those get me in the Christmas mood. They make my heart full of love and joy and like Christmas cheer. James's songs in the first Christmas episode are the best fucking songs that we've ever heard. The Same Great Taste song and the fucking Glory Hole song.
Holy
which
shit.
you will hear at the end of this episode. Those to me are the best songs that we've ever done.
I agree.
And also the Toe Cutter song, which is going to be in this episode.
Toe Cutter is brilliant.
Maybe right now.
I really liked Bubba. I thought he was really cool. I think he reminded me of Rob Halford.
Okay.
Which leads me to my last point.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Over the horizon, dangerous and obscene, the most flamboyant fight gang that you've ever seen. Rides a mental monster, breathing smoke and fire, coming to avenge its for the rider. This is the Toe Cutter. This is the Toe Cutter. Quickly touching faces like a pointless strike. You must take your hat off by the coffin of the night. Mysteriously was spoken for the leader of a gang. He is ambiguously gay. This is the Toe Cutter. This is the Toe Cutter.
Goes on.
Only weakness is old ladies, though the master hides it well. One can lock him in the closet if she has a shotgun shell.
Dude, you sound like King Diamond.
Sounds like Dio.
You have raised desire, you will hear his hiss. You don't know if he'll shoot you or give you a kiss. He will lick your ice cream or lay you in a field. Now he's going under deadly wheels. This is the Toe Cutter. This is the Toe Cutter. Horse of Seal. Toe Cutter. Dead. Leave. Wheels. Toe Cutter.
Oh my god. James.
This is the Toe
If we put in song requests, I have to. You guys gotta put the Mr. Belvedere.
Well, it's the future, and we're out here in space. Here we go, on a 5-year mission. Explore the final frontier, what a show. And every time a red shirt dies that no one knows. Explore new worlds and new civilizations. civilization for this and the next generation. It takes a lot to fuel this enterprise. We're part of the Federation, so all hands to battle stations. We might just beat the Klingons, yep.
Our first Christmas episode, we were all like totally not confident on it. We're like, okay, I don't know if anyone's going to like this. And comparative to our
You had the
actual
most
episodes,
listens.
yeah, it got the most listens.
By far.
Yep.
And the second Christmas comes around, we're like, we fucking got this.
Yeah.
And it got like half as many listens. We're like, I think we're a little too overconfident, guys.
Maybe we should just quit, and then we did.
No, so to me, and Jamie, do you have more stuff?
Let me see here. I think that's pretty much it. It was just
because I
only have a frame of reference of from when I was on. I mean, there were other times that I thought were fantastic. Like it was mentioned before, like Colin mentioned before, the D&D synopsis of Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
I thought was absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost thought that the script for the Christmas episode was a little derivative of the Big Trouble in Little China exposition.
What?
No.
But they were both really good. So it's hard to really judge one from the other. But like it
was a tribute.
It was kind of like a tribute, yeah. So
Okay, I gotta say.
I'm gonna step away from the mics for a second. I have to use the bathroom.
All right, then I'll say something real quick. Yeah. We're talking about like scripts and the Christmas stuff. So when Chris came down with the Mad Max Christmas script, I read it and I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on here. I don't know what is even happening. And then when it was like edited together, I was like, holy shit, that's brilliant. Like, I really like that skit.
Oh, was that from the third?
I guess I'll kill myself. What the
the
fuck?
Thunderdome. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know when I read that. I was like, I didn't get this
it.
either.
I didn't know what was going
me too.
on.
It had been way too long since I'd seen Thunderdome.
But
and I was like,
don't know.
I was
when
like,
you
Chris,
listen
what are you
to
doing?
It, like it all just makes sense in that hard cut from like, I guess I'll try to kill myself.
The editing.
I guess I'll sacrifice.
The editing on that one, that was pretty good.
Wait, what? And then it cuts into the music.
So since
That was
Todd
brilliant.
is
Who did the
not,
editing?
that was
I think
Eric.
Eric.
Eric did
Okay.
that one. I did the editing for the first two.
Okay.
I definitely did the editing for the first one. I think Eric did parts of the second one, and I did parts of the second one. So since Todd is not here, and I don't want to jump on. Well, Eric's not here right now, so I am going to jump on his toes. But when we went on hiatus, and when we decided to come back, right before Spooktober, there were a couple of false starts in the middle. You guys remember that?
Yes.
One of the false starts, yes, to return. Basically, like we were kind of like we would be like, okay, let's bring back John Hates Movies, but I still don't want to do it. So instead, I'm gonna make it like this now, or we're gonna make it like this now.
Because
yeah.
Yeah, and
Because
yes,
you
and
watched.
we were going to like completely change the format.
Oh, right.
For
Because
the
we
show.
wanted to make it shorter and tighter.
Yeah, we wanted to make
Right.
it shorter and tighter. And
More
so
user-friendly.
Exactly. So we were going to do Because You Watched. We were going to change the name of the podcast to Because You Watched. We were going to make it all pre-edited segments where, like, we wouldn't necessarily be in the same room or anything. We'd literally be submitting these segments.
Pretty much
So-
you wanted it to suck.
Yeah. I
modular format, so it's easier to edit.
Yeah, I
So-
wanted a
yeah.
modular format so that not only was it easier to
Yeah,
edit, but
that's the ticket.
yeah, but literally, I was just so frustrated with the thing as it was. I didn't want to, I wanted a massive change. So this is the massive change. Now, the only person who took any initiative in this new format was Todd,
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
and I have just uploaded to the John Hates Movies share drive so that the gang can listen to it. The two submitted items that he did, which I think are worth going into the podcast now.
Shut the fuck up, kids. I'll put a show on for you. I'm here to help navigate what's good, bad, shitty, or just flat out inappropriate for family viewing on Netflix. Seriously, sometimes you have to park the kid in front of the TV because Daddy's drinking. Today we're taking science back to its roots. We're taking science to the street. I'm going to be talking about 2 series streaming now that do just that. Brain Games, and a British series from National Geographic called Street Genius. See? Even has street in the title. Both of these shows have had long runs on basic cable before coming to Netflix, and their combined content provides hours of entertainment. Which means this is the point in every show where I like to remind parents to spend time with the children. Did everyone spend time with their kids? I hope so, cause that was your chance, and we are moving on. The common thread between these 2 shows is that they are both programs where shit gets real. And by shit, I mean science. And by real, I mean staged experiments with supposedly randomly selected strangers on the street. First, and certainly least, we're talking about Street Genius. The titular genius of Street Genius is humble British host Tim Shaw, of no fame. And the titular street is naturally that blinking scientific metropolis of the desert, Las Vegas, Nevada. This show revolves around Shaw going out on the street and finding willing volunteers to participate in fun, shocking, or otherwise entertaining experiments demonstrating principles from physics, chemistry, and a whole range of sciences. It's interesting enough if the subject matter interests you or your little nerdling, but I'm not going to spend any more time on it because it is the verb to the Phineas that is Brain Games, or, for our listeners without children, it is the green-haired British stepbrother of Netflix science shows. More specialized and better than Street Genius, Brain Games is hosted by Jason Silva, who you'll remember from such things as Nothing and Fuck All. Dude barely registers on IMDb, but his bio over at thisisjasonsilva.com lists him as a filmmaker, futurist, and epiphany junkie. The Atlantic magazine has apparently described him as a Timothy Leary of the viral video age. Fuck. I don't know, dear listeners, but it doesn't fucking matter here. All he needs to do is be handsome and speak with authority about shit he probably actually knows nothing about, and here he succeeds. Brain Games consists of 2 different kinds of segments, the games and the brain, or as I like to call them, What the Fuck and What the Actual Fuck. The What the Fuck segments consist of some sort of mind fuck or brain game. Get it? These might be optical illusions, or quizzes, or any number of mind-bending interactive experiments designed to demonstrate a particular shortcoming or quirk of the human mind. Viewers are encouraged to play along. You might also see the host or one of his accomplices mind-fucking random strangers, which is where the street part of the show comes in. This, of course, transpires once again in that modern-day Alexandria, Las Vegas, Nevada. After that comes the What the Actual Fuck segment, where Jason Silva breaks in to explain the actual science behind what the actual fuck just happened to you. Or, to be more accurate, Silva introduces the science behind it. Many of the more detailed explanations are handled by a whole host of guest stars, constituting a veritable who's who of the hottest names in modern neuroscience, including regular appearances by no less a neurology rock star than Shankar fucking Verdantum. Oh shit, Shankar Verdantum, where my public radio nerd's at. He's the goddamn Neil deGrasse Tyson of neuroscience, bitch. You know who that is. But I digress. The point is, the What the Actual Fuck segments are cool. They explain why your mind just got fucked, how the fuck they fucked it, and what the fuck makes your brain so fuckable. But the real appeal of the show is in the What the Fuck segments. They're fun, interactive, and can be pretty goddamn surprising. This is not a show you watch passively. This isn't a show you just park the kid in front of and walk away. This is a show the whole family can enjoy together, playing along, sharing laughs, and having a terrific and educational bonding experience. That is, of course, a complete perversion of what television should be, but fuck it, whatever. It's fun. Just a brief warning to parents of more sensitive youngsters. Season 2, Episode 4 of Brain Games, titled Don't Be Afraid, is an episode that examines how fear affects our brain, and that means the mind fucks are designed to scare. It ain't The Ring, but you may want to skip it. Okay, that's it. You don't like any of my suggestions? You know how to work the damn remote control. You pick something. This laundry ain't gonna fold itself.
Nice.
I've never heard those, actually.
I've never heard that either.
I never actually went in and listened to them, so I'm
they're
looking forward to
they're worth listening. So definitely check them out, and we're going to put them in the podcast so that Todd's work at least will be heard.
Yes.
so that people can.
He could still be part of the show.
Yeah, so he can still be part of the show.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
So Jamie, you mentioned one of your favorite parts of the podcast was my dad game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're definitely not going to get emotional right now. But here's the thing, listeners, you probably don't know, but the reason I did that my dad game for that episode is and we are going to get emotional right now. So my dad in I guess 2014 or 2015 was diagnosed with early onset dementia, and he was like at that point kind of like really quickly going downhill and kind of still is, and I wanted to get like as coherent a version of him on the record as possible, and like just kind of like put it out there into the world. So I was like everybody else had ideas for the second Christmas episode and they were all great and I didn't have any. My only idea was like, well, I'm going to just like make a game with my dad, because I wanted to record my dad talking and like talking about his childhood and the things that he liked and
Star
the
Wars.
things. Yes. And he didn't. Okay. So like listening to that episode, he's seen Star Wars, but he has like, I ask him what are midichlorians and he just makes something up because,
Right, I know.
because that's what he does. And that's like his everyday life now, because like somebody can ask him something and he will just answer it with his best guess. And like, it's the truth to him, but it's his best guess of what reality is. And so I recorded that. And at the time, like me and him were just like sitting in his dining room, like hanging out. And when I played it back for him, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I've never heard my voice before. It sounds weird. Like I don't know if I like that." And I was like, "No, Dad, it sounds great because he's got a good voice." And and then
he does.
Yeah, he does. And so I played the original version back for him, and then we did it for the second Christmas episode, and like I played the clips, and then everybody like answered, chimed in, and then we heard his answers, and then like we all reacted to the answers, and like everybody was laughing. This is not a joke. This is not hyperbole. And P.S. this isn't going to happen. But I played the Christmas episode for my dad, and he was like, "Oh my God, that was beautiful. Like, you should play that at my funeral." Like, that's how I want people to remember me.
To be fair,
Eric, you're just making me
it's a
cry.
pretty sweet way to be remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Like
Oh,
that, like it was like, and the fact that the podcast like allowed me to be able to like make that. Like, that's my favorite thing that I've done for the podcast by far. And like, I've I've edited a bunch of episodes and I've made a bunch of games and done a bunch of stupid reviews. But that's by far the favorite thing, because like, that's something that's not going to end when the podcast ends. It's like, that's a thing that's out there, and it's pretty great.
So first question. What are midichlorians?
Oh, man.
Very Christmassy.
So, Colin, the first Christmas question that I asked my dad was, "What are midichlorians?" was his answer the things that give you the Force? B, small bits of chloride suspended in a solution? Or C, no idea?
C.
All right, let's hear what his answer was.
Small bits of chloride, mixed into whatever solution it is that suspends it.
Whoa! Yeah! He just outscienced your ass.
Okay.
Dude!
Yeah!
So, no. I heard B and I was like, well, that's not it. Oh my God. I can't believe it.
And I'm glad we did it. And it was like 2 years ago now or more. But, if we tried to do that again, we wouldn't be able to.
Right.
Like the window for us being able to do something like that and have like a coherent conversation is closed now. So the fact that there is a coherent conversation between me and my dad, like on the record and like finalized, is a like wonderful thing, and I love it.
Yeah.
So
and listeners,
zany shit. Let's get back into the zany shit.
Well, let me just say for our listeners. Let me just say for our listeners, if you want to revisit that truly amazing moment, it is the episode that is titled "The Christmas Episode 2015."
Yeah, and he loved it. But so I played it back for him, and Jamie in that episode, like, so my dad, one of his answers was like, the question was, "What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?" And he's caught some big ass fish, but his answer to the question, "What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?" is he caught close to a world record bluegill.
Right.
And like that was like everybody thought that was the bogey answer in the thing, and like that was the actual answer. And Jamie's like, "Oh, that's a real angler. That's a real angler." He's like, he's talking about the one like almost state record bluegill that he's caught. And I played it back for my dad, and he was like, "What were we talking about, John Angler?"
That's great.
Yes, it is great. It's wonderful. It really is. It's really wonderful. So my favorite moments for the podcast. So we've touched on it earlier, but around episode 7 or 8 or 6, I zeroed in on a format that really worked for me.
Episode 6, baby.
Yeah, is that Convoy?
That's Convoy.
Yeah. So, and listeners, this isn't a mystery to you anymore, but there are like 3 "my dad" quotes in the Convoy episode. Yeah, I wonder why I've been talking about my dad so much. Next note, holy shit, the boys are back in town. Next note, downshift, motherfucker. I have no idea what that means. Next note, the PBR truck is appropriate. I'm drinking PBR.
I was eating ice cream. How convenient.
I was eating a live pig.
Next note, Polly Hauling, like from Rocky. Like the side of his truck says Polly Hauling.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Next note, I'm so glad my dad was a trucker. Wow, so fucking cool. So that's a true story, kids. My dad was a trucker.
Yep.
All right, moving on. The Jesus freaks are fucked on acid or something. Yeah. Next note, Love Machine has a heart tattooed on his hand. Coincidence?
Maybe he should be the trucker known as Solo.
Next note, holy fuck, this movie isn't over yet. Next note, I think one time my dad was speeding and the governor called in the National Guard on him. Wow, what a badass.
That's a great fucking joke.
Yeah!
It's all good.
So if you would like John Hates Movies played at your funeral, hit us up on Facebook.
Or hit the Cafe Press shirt. Sorry, hit the Cafe Press store and get I Roll with Eric's dad.
Oh my god, that made me so happy. Oh my god. Oh, that made me so happy. That was my friend Ryan Hafer. You're the man.
So
that came up with that.
I gotta make a request right now. At my funeral, you have to play that folder full of the races. Everybody will be glad I'm dead.
Except for like 5 people that like will just be rolling on the floor laughing and just being glared at by everyone else.
Yeah, but his family would be like, this is probably for the best.
You know I will.
Oh, so yeah, I zeroed in. I started doing the next note style jokes, and those went pretty well for me. Now you'll notice those jokes actually started that whole format actually started going away around the 20s or 30s episodes of the podcast. The reason for that is it was as soon as I started having more responsibility and I had to start editing the episode, I stopped thinking about content for the episode and I started thinking about how to create the episode, and it just flipped and I stopped doing that anymore. Yeah. So I kept trying. I've been keeping on trying to do it, but it's just not as good anymore. Yeah.
Right. I
It's
understand
not.
that.
It's not. It's just not.
Sometimes you can't just load yourself up with too much stuff.
Yeah.
Well, plus people kept bogarting the notes.
No. That wasn't that had nothing to do with.
It took 2 or 3 times for us. For me, I tried it once and I realized how awful I was at it compared to Eric, and I think we all learned that lesson fairly quick.
But yeah, early on, because early on none of us had our thing, and so it's if somebody else tried
Eric
a thing,
all of a sudden has a thing.
Yeah.
And it was well, maybe I should try to have a thing.
Yeah.
And it's oh, I'll try that. Oh, that didn't work too
It really
good.
didn't take me long to be
I'm pretty sure early on I did notes totally.
No, you did it different. Yeah, you had a completely different thing.
Yeah. And mine usually actually referenced the movie.
Yeah.
Yours were usually,
I'm
next
fucking
note,
drunk.
What the fuck is this guy doing? Is that a fucking fish?
No.
This guy must be an angler.
Yeah, half of my notes are about how much I'm drinking
My
at the moment that I'm
favorite
taking the note.
run is one that we probably can't even reference because somebody who shall not be named is on it. But it's
Okay.
the Horns episode.
Uh-huh.
And Eric and John are doing competing notes, and halfway through the list,
I start doing ska.
he starts doing ska puns. And the rest of the episode is Eric just doing ska puns.
Now, my favorite notes, hands down, is the Karate Kid episode.
Oh yeah!
That was
I started talking about how how my dad woke me up in the middle of the night to have me push him up and down the street so he could start his car and go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were trying real hard to be the Cobra Kai is sweet. Daniel's a nerd.
Right.
And then they were oh my god, me and my dad used to do that. And you flipped yourself in the
him
course
and
of your
Daniel
own review.
San are out on the boat, and I was like, oh shit, me and my dad have done that a million times. Oh, I love my
dad. Yeah, because as he goes through each note, he's like, wow, these Cobra Kai guys are really cool. And then you can hear the progression as it's he gets turned around on the movie.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear it happen.
Well, that's right, because I went into that movie wanting to make fun of it, and then it's a fucking great movie, and I couldn't make fun of it anymore. So it just started touching me, in a real place.
In the feels.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh man, this is a good movie.
So there we go, listeners. There's a lot of movies that we've watched that are old, and we watched them again after 20 years, and Man with One Red Shoe, and we're like, oh my god, what a dog!
Yeah,
terrible movie. Other movies haven't stood the test of time, like The Golden Child. We're like, wow, that's terrible. By the way, there's another behind the scenes cut from that episode. Chris and I had our worst fight in history.
They fucking had it out, and I've got that still.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, what were you arguing about?
That was a bad one.
We were shouting at each
yeah,
other.
it was over whether the girl that Eddie Murphy came on to had agency or not.
It was the difference between who's a bigger creep, Eddie Murphy in The Golden Child or Bill Murray in Ghostbusters. And we're like,
yeah.
It was a good debate, but it was it was fucking heated.
It was about women's agency and real shit, and it became a real debate, conversation.
But John had to shut us down.
Yeah,
it was okay, everybody walk away from your mics.
Now
for
that's
5 minutes.
recorded,
and I edited that episode.
Excellent.
I still have it.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah.
It was a good discussion, but man, it got pretty hot and heavy.
Yeah.
So
not something you need in a comedy podcast.
It wasn't.
No, because it wasn't funny at all. It was not. It was there was no jokes.
I got an idea. Let's talk about politics and religion now.
Right, we were just straight up
it wasn't
raging
funny,
and
just
arguing.
like Bill Murray.
Oh, here we go.
Shots fired.
So
but bringing it
Colin,
back.
So
100
Trump,
episodes.
yeah. Let's
no. So
100
Jesus.
episodes. There's
stop.
One movie though that stands up more than any other is, and you should watch it if you've watched it before or if you haven't. just watch The Karate Kid.
Yes.
And watch Rocky.
Yes.
Watch those two movies because they're fucking good.
I think in the Rocky episode, my notes are my conversation with my dad about the movie Rocky and like how he remembered it. Like, like he was talking about like the cow hitting, like Rocky punching cows and shit like that. And his like main memory of the movie Rocky is about how he went to see Rocky in the theaters and he was just strutting up and down the aisles, like showing off for girls and shit.
That's so good.
Oh man,
so good.
But I mean, so don't be scared of these old movies. Karate Kid.
What
Rocky.
did you say that
Just
your
do it.
dad called Adrian instead of Adrian? It was like Andrea or something.
Yeah, I don't know, like Allison.
Andrea.
Allison.
I think it was Allison. But Karate Kid.
You understand?
And Rocky.
We did it.
Yeah,
So-
those are a couple of great episodes. So Colin, you bring me to probably my very favorite game that we've ever played. And it was a game that I came up with and I just had this idea that it would be hilarious for James to be the girl in a dating game.
Oh jeez.
So John and Chris were basically straight. Like John played it straight. Like he just made and that's where the "I'm a wizard" joke came up from.
Oh, is that where
That's where "I'm a wizard" came from. That's like Johnny's calling card now, is that he's a wizard. But it was the fucking dating game for, I think it's Trains, Planes, and Automobiles.
Yep.
Is the episode. And
Terrible movie, good game.
yes.
No.
Colin's character. Oh my god.
So and Chris was playing like a mama's boy. Like I can't date you unless I have like permission from my mom or something. And then Colin
Sound like Mo Sizlak
was
Sully.
was playing a character that was just amazing and
filthy.
He makes two jokes in that game. The first is, I will get you, like, what would you bring for me as a gift on our first date? And he's like, I will bring you the latest in VLARF technology. It's the pocket shower. But on this time and one time only, if you get the pocket shower, you can also get the 24 karat plated edition. I will give you a golden shower. Now that fucking canceled my life. That's like the funniest singular moment that I
No, I think it goes higher than that, because the next one where they was like, would you be a plane, train, or an automobile? And Colin was a train.
Yeah. It's because it gets dark and dirty. But then,
and then there was a Brittany Murphy reference that got James.
Yes. So, like, I think I don't know what the question was, but Colin was talking about Brittany Murphy and a movie, and it came up. It's not Happy Feet, it's Happy Fetus. And that also canceled my life. Like,
I forgot
so
about
go back
Happy
and listen to
Fetus.
Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. Yeah, so listeners, if you are our gauge, our best episodes ever, the first ever Christmas episode,
still the most listened.
Convoy, which we've talked about, which is just fucking beautiful. Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, and my personal favorite episode, and what I'll round out on, our second most listened to episode ever after the Christmas episode is Major League.
Nice.
And really, that episode includes me talking about the story of my birth.
Which is a great story.
About how my mom went into labor, went to the hospital, and they were like, no, you're not ready yet. So they went and watched The Natural on a drive-in movie, and her water broke while like, crash, do. So like that episode has like, I open my review with The Boys of Summer by fucking Don Henley, that asshole who fucking shut me down on YouTube. And then I close it with the music from The Natural when he's got a stab wound and he hits a home run off of the lights and he's rounding the bases. Look, listeners, what we've just gone through for the last half hour, I'm thinking that I've been talking because I can talk about doing John Hates movies forever because I fucking love it. But we're talking about the story of my birth, my father, the things that I love, my friends. Like, that's what John Hates movies has been to me. It's been like a real life thing that I love.
Yeah.
So, John, do you agree?
I do.
Like, I've inserted my entire life into this thing, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
I just am. And listeners, I want you to know that, and I want you to know that I love you, and thank you for listening to us.
Yeah.
I think definitely one of my favorite episodes in general is one of the more recent ones, the Spawn one.
That was a great one. That was
the fact
great.
that we all used our nicknames from our private chat.
Oh yeah, it's the Gator. Gator, no.
Well, I guess that means it's my turn. Yeah. So, I think everything's been said already.
No, you cannot do that. You cannot do that this time.
I am so kidding. So, I mean, Eric did mention that, if pure downloads are judgment call, just so that you know, Christmas episode is our number one.
Yes.
Episode is at Major League is our second.
Yeah.
It Follows is our third.
Yes.
Surprisingly.
Wow. Yes. It Follows it very well. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Convoy.
It Followers, dude. That's a great one.
Oh, now I remember it.
Yeah. Convoy.
Yeah.
And then Sharknado 3.
Yes.
Yes.
That was a great one. Jamie, you were on that one.
Yeah.
That was when Chris gave you your computer that night.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
And we were sitting around a table like this.
Yeah.
And Sharknado 4 and tied with Christmas with the Cranks for number
Sharknado
5.
4 was so much fun. That was the only live one that we've ever done. We had our friends surrounding us. Like, we actually had a live audience, and people were like, chiming in and shit. That was so
great.
good. That was
was really
so
At
good.
Jeff Con, that was
one?
awesome.
No, that was Sharknado 4.
No,
Sharknado 4.
Sharknado 4.
We recorded that Jeff Con 2017.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, so, I mean, there has been a lot of amazing stuff with this. Just amazing times we've had together. Some great behind-the-scenes stories that we've all told.
Great writing for bits.
Great writing for bits. I mean, every single one of the people that you're hearing on this podcast has contributed in a major way and has demonstrated amazing talent in one way or another.
And Todd Meter.
And Todd Meter.
Who apparently couldn't show up tonight.
Yeah, couldn't show up
Todd,
tonight,
this
but that's
guy
okay.
we know, man.
But we'll do his little bits, and that's great. But Eric has demonstrated repeatedly that he is an absolutely an amazing comedic talent with just a ton of editing experience. I mean, he has edited about 70% of this thing. Mm-hmm. And so like some of our more quality stuff, it's all him, baby. It's all him. Tabby has not only been a guest on the show, but has provided us with amazing artwork. Seriously, just go to the Facebook page and look at the pictures. There's just been some astounding work that she's been on there, some banners that we've rotated in and out. Just check them out.
There's a
really
wonderful Christmas tree picture where there's John, and then all of us are like bulbs on the Christmas tree. That's wonderful.
Yes. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's been fun, guys.
Colin, King of Improv.
Thank you.
Absolutely has knocked it out of the park during some of the games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and more.
And more, yes. Well, during the reviews as well, absolutely. Just fantastic stuff. James, obviously the commercials.
James, what the fuck?
The commercials,
sex weirdo,
and the songs.
James,
they would not
so James, your best moments are pre-recorded bits, like songs and commercials. They really are. Oh
fantastic.
no, shit! I forgot
the
my
parts when
absolute
he goes like, I
favorite
watched a
thing.
different movie.
I'm sorry, Tabby. My absolute favorite thing ever from the podcast, and I didn't mention it. Your phone.
Yes. Your phone is so good. That was magic that we have tried to recapture so many damn times and have failed each and every time.
So I want to let the people in on a background for that. So James in our group chat said, like somebody asked James if he was on his phone. He said, "Yarp, phone." And I was like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah, he had a shitty phone because he said he was lost in Dimension X because he couldn't get a signal.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh." So we went into the first Christmas episode, and I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna do a commercial for the Yarp phone from Dimension X," and I started riffing, and and like me and James had a really good back and forth, and then Colin's in my fucking ear with Dimension X. And I fucking break. But the thing that made that so good, James edited that, and it ended up perfect.
Yes,
it ended up so perfect. Oh, go back and listen to our first Christmas episode. Everything is fucking gold. But the Yarp phone from Dimension X and then it goes into like it goes into the fucking Turbo Line with the same great taste. Same great taste is always fun with half the calories and normal strawberry. Same great taste.
All right, everybody's gonna get that stuck in their head.
All right, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It's so fucking good.
Well, so let me just continue.
Yeah.
On here. Obviously, James, he drives the really creative, weird stuff, and I mean, basically, is our music director. Anytime. The only piece of music in this whole entire podcast that he did not have a hand in
was the theme song.
It was the theme song.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
he's been in charge of pretty much everything else. Everything else.
So I'm gonna real talk. I think Chris's greatest contribution is just straight up movie reviews. Like, if you want like a straight movie review of the movie that we're talking about, I think Chris probably did those the best.
He's the only one that actually did it. He's the only one that actually reviewed the movie and gave it like actual thought. I mean, that's not saying that he didn't have funny stuff going on. And his stuff.
There's at least once or twice where I think my review was, it was a movie. And refused to review it past that. That happened, like 5 episodes back?
Yes.
And then you told me I couldn't keep doing that.
Yep. Like, you have covered a movie with like 2 or 3 sentences. That effectively covers the entire thing.
Yes. It was like, okay, well, that's what we think.
Okay. Now, Jamie. Now, you might not think that, I have a lot to say about Jamie, but I actually do, because there's a little bit of a behind-the-scenes thing here with Jamie, too.
Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, obviously, anybody who's listened to the podcast, for the episodes that he's been on, it's fairly obvious he has a lot of heart.
Yes.
And, his reviews are, basically... You can tell that there are a couple of times during listening to them that, for somebody who comes into a group where the group up until that point was working like clockwork, he has a real quick learning curve.
Yes.
He finds his feet fairly quickly, which if you ever listen to any long project, when they add new person, it's like, the whole, there's a struggle there. There's an obvious struggle there. It wasn't that way with Jamie.
Yeah.
But that's not really...
There were, so right after we did the first couple Jamie episodes, me and John had a conversation, on chat, and we were like, yeah, so Jamie's on the pod now, right?
Yep.
Jamie's good.
Jamie's good. Jamie's on the pod now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I can't believe I forgot about this. But it did pop into my mind. The biggest contribution Jamie has ever given to this pod, without him even knowing it.
Is it friendship?
Well, it's more than friendship.
That's the greatest contribution of all.
That is the greatest contribution of all. Is that he actually kept me from quitting way earlier.
Really?
Yes. Because... I had completely forgotten about this until we started talking about this. Somewhere when I was really struggling with the editing and just like totally fried, and our numbers were not great when it came to listens. We didn't really have a good spike until, after our hiatus. And we were lucky to have 50 people download an episode. I was basically like, I don't really know what the point of this is. And then Colin went to go visit Jamie. I don't know if you went to visit him or if you went to talk to him, but you texted me and told me all about how much of a fan Jamie was of our product, and that he listened to every episode, and that like you guys spent like an hour and a half talking about the podcast. And that for me was like, I can keep doing this because somebody's listening.
Yeah.
Oh
man, thanks.
Oh, jeez.
And Johnny, don't sell yourself short. Like literally every single one of our episodes has way more than the download numbers that you just gave out, the 50. Like all of our episodes are way above that.
Yeah, no, they are.
Not
and
to like.
This was back then, though.
They're more than double.
Right.
Yep. And back then, and what I mean by that is like people have obviously like, they've heard a new episode and they've been like, oh, and they go back to the beginning and start listening up to us now.
Yeah.
That's happened a lot. But back when we first started, nobody had heard of us. Nobody had listened to us, and people didn't really talk about us. So it was like one of those things where we were kind of living in a weird nebulous zone where we didn't know if anybody was actually listening to what we were putting together.
Just kind of did it for yourself.
We did it for ourselves, but
That's
at
what
the
I
same
was doing.
time,
That's what I kept trying to cement to everybody. Don't look at the fucking numbers. You're just going to be dismayed.
But here's the
Enjoy
thing.
it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about the numbers.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
And with any project, and even though we were doing this for ourselves, the fact is that all of us were putting in a crap ton of time into this and a crap ton of effort.
Yeah.
Like just a ton. And it was emotionally draining. And knowing that there were people out there that were enjoying it as much as us helped make us create it. So
yes, absolutely.
And Jamie was I honestly say he was the first person I ever knew besides us that listened to the damn thing. Because I'm not kidding you. Because I literally tried to get all of my friends to listen to this, and they'd be like, "Oh, you got a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're on episode 15. Have you listened to one yet?" And they're like, "No."
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, "Really?" So
yeah.
And that's how it was. So when I found out that Jamie was listening to this, and on a fairly regular basis. That's how I knew that when we lost cast members that he would be a good fit, because he had already listened and he was a fan, and
I'd done the reading.
He'd done the reading.
He knew what we were all about.
He knew what we were all about, and that's why he stepped in and really kind of saved our bacon. So that's why everybody.
Well, thanks, Johnny.
Yes, that's why everybody who is on here deserves to be on here and has done great things. Now, when it comes to favorites, boy, do I have a lot of them.
Oh.
My heart feels funny.
Basically, anything that has become a thing is my favorite thing. Even the things that were only a thing for a little while. Like, I still
how about
get a
the
chuckle.
thing where John was like, hey, this movie is horror comedy done right.
Yes, I was actually going to bring that up. The fact that I said that about Leprechaun, and then during the episode, you guys did not let me live it down. And then every Spooktober episode after that, would you say, John, it's horror comedy done right? The only time that ever really was true was Tucker and Dale versus Evil. The rest of the time,
yes, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is horror comedy done right.
yes.
Yeah.
But it came up during every Spooktober episode, or if we even talked about doing anything horror related. So that first Spooktober episode, the Leprechaun, was really like it just the moments like that are great.
Yeah.
The fact that we glommed onto the Colonel Sanders game The freaking
Dave Thomas.
Whatever. Same guy.
It's all the same.
I don't even know anymore.
Colonel Sanders game.
Yeah, it's the one where you say Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's.
Okay.
The name of the game though is Colonel Sanders. So I'm surprised you didn't know that.
You guys said that the Dave Thomas thing was lifted from another podcast, though.
Yes.
I think that's.
I don't care.
Also defunct
But-
too. Yeah.
Yes.
That podcast hasn't gone out in quite a while now.
No, but I mean, like that's the thing is that like even things that like had a brief life, but then disappeared, like loaded baked potato. You know,
Chris, you got one. Chris, you got one loaded up. Loaded baked potato.
Still the best trucker name ever.
Yeah, and I wish.
No, that was from City of God.
Yep.
Your favela name. And John was like, "Do you got one loaded up?"
And he said loaded
And
baked
somebody said loaded baked potato.
That's right. and then for like literally like 6 episodes afterwards, we started referring to him. Even in the Leprechaun episode, we referred to Chris as the baked potato. So I mean, that's why that's why that shirt with the potato exists, and I think there's a banner that's heavy.
Brilliant shirt.
Yes.
Tabby designed. That I love
Thanks,
that. Like I
guys.
said, that is the shirt I own.
I feel like anytime I need an ego boost, I just need to listen to you guys talk about my art.
Oh,
It's better.
this is fantastic. Obviously the notes thing was great. Just all of the songs that have appeared in this podcast I've absolutely loved. And really, honestly, the best thing about this podcast, hands down, has been the damn game. The game.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's
fun.
It's what.
It's why we show up.
It's why. And when I say your favorite part and mine, I don't know if it's your favorite part, but it is definitely my favorite part. Even though I suck at it. And
You don't suck at it.
I am just
There's a reason the looking around the room joke exists.
Yes, which is another thing. I am miserable at the game, but it is the part that I look forward to every week. Even the games that are phoned in are still fucking great.
Name my stuff.
John, that was a great one.
A fucking gamble, 2 dice gamble, man, or 2 card gamble,
One card
gamble.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
One card gamble man.
See, that's why I don't have a favorite part of the game, because I liked all the games for different reasons. It's like they highlighted your guys' creativity and adventureness, and like you can tell that you guys enjoyed doing the game just by listening to you guys do the game and how much fun you had. That as a listener, I felt like I was a part of that fun, and it was you guys just rocked out the
like
game every
John's dice monster game that was just on our last episode. That was one of my favorite games ever. Like that was really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that we've done 100 of those.
Yeah.
And so
More.
it's not surprising that some of them are going to be bombs, but even the bombs were pretty fun.
Rule of averages.
The Warriors episode. What's your New York gang name?
Oh, was that?
Was that the game for that one?
No. I have no idea.
All I remember is that the Warriors episode was actually a really good episode, and I'm really sorry.
Yeah,
we lost that.
I did my entire review in haiku, and it's gone.
Yeah. It was really solid. So I'm going to tie this up. Talking about, I mean, obviously, I've said great things about the cast. I mean, they really have driven.
Well, hold on a second. Technically,
We are
Eric
great.
interrupted you. You didn't say that many good things about me. I just want to mention that.
I didn't?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
No, Eric interrupted you.
Well, you're awesome. No,
I said some great things about the cast. Now let me tell you why you're all awful.
Yes, and why I'm leaving. No. No, but seriously, the cast has been amazing. But what has been really amazing is our listeners. Just, the activity we've gotten on the Facebook page.
Yep.
The fact that people have chimed in and started discussions with us is absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
Even if some of those discussions are a little strange,
Or racist.
or racist, or off the wall, or even if somebody just wants to shout on Colin's timeline about toxic. The toxic
Avenger taxi.
Feel free to bring that back.
Talk about a movie I'm glad we never did.
Yes.
Colin, I'm addicted to you because you know that's toxic.
I must have mentioned that happened to me in person once.
Okay. So good. But there's the listeners have been absolutely fantastic. You're a big part of the reason that we did this, and you've been absolutely wonderful. Even if you never bought a tote bag, or a mug.
Yeah, neither have I, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But we still got 3 weeks, Eric.
Yeah, I
gotta get some.
I ain't got money to spend on this shit.
The mugs are actually high fucking quality. I was blown. I'm blown away.
Nice.
Plus
they're like
really nice,
like a 16-ounce mug.
Yep.
Or at least a 1 ounce.
Oh, none of them 1 cup bullshit.
No.
Yeah, no,
all right,
no,
good.
not like
It's like a 12-ounce mug, maybe.
No, because like
You
a
said like
normal
16.
mug is 12 ounce.
Yeah. This is a 16.
This is one of the 16. It's a little bit taller.
Yeah,
Nice.
a little bit taller,
Nice
a little
and-
bit wider, and it's
Yeah.
really it's great. Plus, it's got
Man,
flarf on it, which is something that we had for a while.
This is a commercial we should have done a
that
long
was the
day
time
one.
ago.
Yeah.
70 episodes ago when we
From day
developed
one, yeah.
the store.
Right.
Yeah.
We had a number of store
To be
commercials.
fair, we did do store commercials. I think we only added
Yeah,
them in.
we
like
talked about
once.
unpaid interns
Yeah.
and
What
child
was,
labor in
what was
Indonesia.
Pay us more money.
For every dollar
Yes.
that you spend, we will get $1.
Yes, for the price of a cup of coffee, or you can provide us with a cup of coffee.
So, I'm gonna walk away with this with some amazing memories, some amazing friendships.
No.
Nah. Well,
Who are you guys?
some people anyway. Maybe not all of them. But,
Man, I remember this one time when me and James were in a band way back in the day. We played this basement show in fucking like Morris or some shit. And John came up from Ypsilanti and hung out in the basement. And I remember John because we played, I believe in a thing called Love by The Darkness.
Yeah.
And I remember I was doing the and John was on the couch in the basement of some shitty basement show, and we were both doing
Yeah.
for the chorus melody. Like, yeah, I've known John forever. John, you're my boy.
That's
Shout.
right.
Wait. We're giving shout outs to John. I want to reminisce about the time that he came all the way. He came all the way out to Lansing for my birthday.
I was there too, asshole.
But he didn't.
Such an asshole.
Eric, you live in Lansing, though.
He came all the way out for my birthday, but he didn't for his own brother.
I was busy.
That was a great time. Also, a badass party.
That was a
Yeah,
great
it was-
party.
it was a
It was a
great
great party.
So there are a couple of things that I want to leave everybody with. Don't say it's over because, it is over, really.
So say it if you must.
There may be some like straggler episodes that trickle out onto the
Yeah.
feed. We'll see.
If
and
Warriors
we're
we can ever find Warriors,
Yes.
you gotta put that shit out.
And we're going to keep the feed open, and we're going to keep the store open at least until the end of this month. As we said, 3 weeks. In case you want to get any, memorabilia from your time with us.
Now's the time.
Now's the time. And there are some great episodes out there. Some of the movies that we've reviewed, yes, a lot of them are stinkers, but some of the movies that we've reviewed are really good movies too.
Yeah.
There are some episodes that need some love.
Oh.
Housebound is an episode that needs some love.
movie.
That's a great movie, and you should listen to the episode and you should watch the movie.
Roadhouse. needs
Yes.
some love.
One of my favorites. One of the best games.
Zodiac needs some love.
Yes.
So give some love to Zodiac before we close out.
As the movie or as the podcast?
Both.
Podcast.
No,
Both.
it's a good
It's
movie.
a good movie.
It's a really good movie. And C2E2 Airplane Surprise. If you didn't know that our Babadook review is on there and the title threw you for a loop, definitely give that one some love as well.
Yeah, retrospectively, I wish we had put Babadook in the title of that episode.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people love
We
that
were
movie
trying
for
to-
some reason.
The Babadook all of a sudden became a figure for the gay rights movement.
Why do you
and
think I want to
love
record it? Redo it.
And even though this one has a lot of listens, it's perhaps my favorite episode. Listen to the double feature Super Show, episode 2, Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That one's really good.
All right, ladies
I've
and
never
gentlemen.
actually watched that movie, and every time someone does that, I want to watch it less.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take another short break, and when we come back, it's going to be time for something.
What?
We don't
Are
know.
we really going to do a game at the end of this?
We're going to do the game?
We can do a game.
Somebody has a
Or,
game.
Yeah, let's do a game. I've got a game.
All right.
I've got a game.
All right, and
All right.
when we come back, it'll be time for the game.
Oh my god. Listeners, this game's going to be a shit show. Here we go.
Well, it's getting closer and closer to Christmas.
Huh.
What's the matter now?
I don't know. I thought South Dakota would have everything I'm looking for, and it's been great so far, but it's almost Christmas and it's 60 degrees out here.
Well, we had to move to get rid of that weird Vlarf guy. Besides, do you really miss the cold?
I miss the snow.
Then have I got great news for you!
How'd you find us?
Who cares? Introducing the new Vlarf Industries self-festivizing turbo lawn with edible shrubbery. Same great taste, but with half the calories of normal shrubbery.
I am intrigued, sir. How does it work?
I'm gonna get my gun.
I'm glad you asked. Every Vlarf turbo lawn is covered in cultures of explosive mold. Every year, these colonies explode, spreading millions of flake-like spores, covering your yard in what looks like and smells like real snow. Also, you can get it traditional white and white and brown for that city look.
Hey, honey, look outside. Our lawn looks just like Detroit in the winter.
Great.
Call Vlarf Industries and get your new turbo lawn today. Warning, ingesting edible shrubbery may cause early onset dementia and other cognitive disabilities.
Leave my family alone.
That's Vlarf Auto Festivizing Turbo Lawn with edible shrubbery. Same great taste as always, but with half the calories of normal shrubbery.
Same great taste as always, but with half the calories of normal shrubbery. Same great taste as always, but with half the calories of normal shrubbery. Put it on your casserole, spread it on your cornflakes, there are ghosts inside your bowl, swivel up your coffee. Same great taste as always, but with half the calories of normal shrubbery. Same great taste as always, but with half the calories of normal shrubbery. It has many vitamins, trees are laughing at you. Wonder where the toothpick grows, this shrub is delicious. They all want your turbo lawn, hide it from the neighbors. Love knows all that you have done. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas. Same great taste as always, but with half the calories of normal shrubbery. Same great taste as always, but with half the calories of normal shrubbery.
Welcome back, everybody, it is now time for your favorite part and mine. It is time for the game!
Oh boy.
That's right. The very last game on the very
the
last
final
episode
game.
of John Hates Movies.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I suppose it's fitting that I do this game, right?
Yes, you are the game master, apparently.
Captain N.
Well, so here's the thing. I didn't have a whole lot planned for this episode, and yesterday I was like, oh shit, I guess I was the guy that like won the game previously. So if we do a game for this episode, I will need to have a game. And I just like thought of a thing. And the thing, I don't know if Jamie, did you listen to our Sharknado 4 episode?
Yes, I did.
Tabby, did you listen to our Sharknado 4 episode? And no judgment if you didn't.
I did, but I don't remember.
Okay,
I
well-
was even there for the recording.
So, that's right. Yeah, you were there, but you were cooking macaroni and cheese for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. To that episode.
Oh, that's right, Chris. You weren't there. Okay, so you may not remember, but in that episode, I had a very, very great and true to character impression of Al Pacino. Now, what this game is I'm indiscriminately going to assign a celebrity impression to one of you, and you're going to have to do it.
Oh my gosh.
At the end of all of this, whoever does their celebrity impressions the best wins the last game ever of John Hates Movies.
And gets to pick nothing.
So should we be going in the style of Eric's Al Pacino or in the style of like true effort?
Do your best. Follow your heart, Colin. Go for a really good version or a really bad version.
Whatever's funny.
Look at me, I'm Angelina Jolie.
What I'm looking for are A's. What I'm looking for are A's or F's. Okay.
Gotcha.
All the explanation we need.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna start with my man right here, Jamie Donaldson. Jamie, your celebrity impression is, and you have to just come up with it on the spot, Burt Reynolds.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Burt Reynolds, I'm basically just going to take it off of Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty solid.
That's a great impression of Norm Macdonald.
Jamie, that was pretty good. And Jamie was pretending to chew gum while I did it, which like took it over the top for me. Jamie, that was pretty good. Okay. James, we're around to you. James, your celebrity impression is Robert De Niro.
Oh.
Getting character.
Pretty much.
No, it can't be just physical. You have to say something.
It's mainly visual.
A little bit.
He's manifested a mole onto his
can
face.
do
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. Forget about it.
That's okay.
That's pretty all right. That's all right. All right. That's enough, ladies.
All right.
Yeah.
No.
I'm gonna break this thing down for you right now. Lend me some sugar. I am your neighbor.
Cut his mic.
I'm going to get drunk on this last episode of John Hates Movies.
All right.
Yeah.
Who's
All right. Who's next? It's fucking Tabby.
Oh my god. Okay.
Tabby, your celebrity impression, and I'm gonna make it a girl because I don't know if that makes it easier or harder or
thank
whatever.
you. Okay.
Your celebrity impression is Sofia Vergara.
Oh my god.
I can't even do Spanish.
She's the Latina lady that has big boobs and is very pretty. And she's
Modern
a
Family.
Modern Family.
Okay. So like I don't know. Oh, I can't do it. What do you mean? I don't know what to, I feel like I'm sounding.
No, you're right there. You're right there. You're right there. Keep
You're right in
going.
the pocket.
That was good.
Okay, so like I just don't know what you're talking about. She talks really fast, but everything's very hot.
Oh, Tabby, that was
so
good.
She just goes
Thank
on
you.
and on and on.
That's pretty good.
All right.
Pete Recess. Go there.
So the next one, Johnny. Johnny, your celebrity impression, Liam Neeson.
I should have got this one.
Do the Taken one. I don't know.
I've only seen that movie once.
No,
So,
one
give me.
movie. You can do all the movies.
All the movies.
Oh, okay, hold on.
You can do my skit that I did.
Do Darkman. Shit.
I'm a man with certain set of skills. I will find you.
When in doubt, Godfrey.
No, that was a fucking that was my fucking Al Pacino impression.
All the inches you need are all around you. Are all around you.
Oh, Colin. Colin, you're next.
That was my Eric impression.
Thank you. Oh, guys, I'm so glad that we're not going out on some kind of sentimental bullshit note. We're going to play a game like we've done this every time that we've played the fucking John Hates Movies game. Okay. Colin, your celebrity impression is Patrick Warburton.
You know what's bullshit? The Foo Fighters have never won a Grammy. Okay.
Perfect.
It's fucking on point.
Hold on. Just keep talking like that, please.
Okay, so what you gotta do, Hank, is you gotta come up behind him real quiet like, and then you grab the handle, push the button.
Wow.
That's fucking
That's really
spot
good.
on.
Colin,
Thank
I
you.
said I was looking for A's and F's. You just gave me an A. Johnny gave me an F.
For reference, that's what we're looking at.
Looking at both ends of the spectrum.
All right, so we're around to Chris now.
Oh, God.
Chris, I'm going to give you a really hard one because you're my good friend.
Yeah.
Will Smith.
I think that gun was doing something to your leg. Because this is how you drive. From now on, this is how you drive.
All right.
Bad Boys.
Okay.
Yes, Bad Boys.
That was a terrible impression, but the line. You're welcome.
Chris just gave me a
Line.
D.
It's better than an F, right, John?
I don't know. He said he was looking for A's and F's.
Yeah.
Jamie.
Yes.
Jamie, we're back around to you. Your celebrity impression is Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
Oh, we're doing rounds?
Well, we got.
We're doing multiple rounds of this.
Well, we
I'm
got to
sorry,
start
guys.
out with all right.
All right.
You gotta give me some more.
But then what you gotta do is you gotta get real low and think about how you enjoy driving a Lincoln. Right? and what I'm doing is I'm rubbing a little booger between my fingers.
Thank you, Jamie. That was very good. That was very
He's
good.
a fucking impression master over here.
Thank you, Jamie. That was very good. All right, James.
All right.
We're around to you. You are doing Tom Hardy as Bane.
Oh my god.
Okay, go your mouth.
I suppose you're wondering why I'm wearing this mask. Well, I had sex with your mother last night, and my breath is still not fresh.
So wait, was that his Bane, or was that...
Sean Connery.
Channeling Sean Connery.
Now, was that from Dark Knight? No, that would have to be
was,
Dark Knight
Dark
Rises.
That was from the Dork Knight.
Yeah. that was Bane on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Tabby.
Yes. Okay.
Tabby, your celebrity impression is Woody Allen.
Oh my god.
Got a very
Hold on.
distinct voice.
I gotta get into character. I don't know. Like, it's just we're talking about the game. I can't do that.
that was actually.
It was a valiant effort.
But I know
A
I
for
can
effort.
hear Woody Allen in my head. It's just like trying to mimic him.
More stuttering.
More stuttering.
So, Colin,
and
I'm gonna
I gotta get like the Jewish accent.
Colin and I used to do Woody Allen all the time.
We used to practice together. It was awful. It was just all that
You
time
sound like
impersonating.
Woody
It was
Allen's
terrible.
mom.
And in such small proportions.
Oh, okay, Colin. Yours is going to be a little bit trickier here.
All right.
Your celebrity impression is Adam Sandler.
Oh man.
Not
Okay.
Adam Sandler doing somebody else. The actual Adam Sandler.
Okay.
I suppose you could.
Well, unfunny.
Okay, so
That sounded good.
Well,
You're off to a
yeah.
good start.
I run a pizza restaurant in this movie or something. And I'm just kind of good natured and
I'm just
people
like a
like me. Whatever. Sorry.
Colin, that's good.
That's a first ever attempt at Adam Sandler.
That's
No, that's what I'm going for here. I'm trying to throw people curveballs that they haven't tried before.
Baseball.
Yeah.
That's
like Eric's
that's
trying
a
to make
sports
me
explaining
racist.
thing.
Johnny,
Yes.
your celebrity impression. And look, the entire theme of this episode, this podcast is called John Hates Movies, but we've celebrated a lot of things that aren't John about John Hates Movies, which makes me think that John gets no respect. So John's celebrity impression is Rodney Dangerfield.
Grab your imaginary tie.
Oh,
I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to play this straight. So might as
Or
well.
shoot for the F.
Or shoot for the F.
I think either way you're gonna get an F. So just
Own it.
All right. I'm gonna get an F. I found my wife sleeping with another man. I get no respect.
Wait, did you just do a Liam Neeson for Rodney Dangerfield?
is definitely an F, and that's what I'm looking for. You didn't even get the joke out.
that sounded like Liam Neeson.
I was going to say, that was a great Liam Neeson.
Maybe.
That
was a good Liam Neeson, wasn't it?
Brooklyn accent.
It was a pretty good Neeson.
Oh,
Thank you.
good Lord. Johnny. All right, Chris.
Oh, God.
Chris, your celebrity impression is Eddie Murphy.
Oh shit! That's another one of my go-tos.
I know that's one of James' go-tos. Which, oh God, I'm not gonna. Yeah, his goofy ass laugh, but man, nobody likes onions. You be like parfait. People love parfaits.
That's pretty good.
That's not
That's
bad.
pretty good. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I got the feeling.
That's solid.
Okay, last round.
All right.
Last round.
Okay.
Jamie,
All right.
your celebrity impression is Morgan Freeman.
Now, the thing about Morgan Freeman is you just got to get a little bit of Southern accent in there. But it's closer to Matthew McConaughey. So
Jamie, keep going. Come on.
Morgan Freeman McConaughey.
the thing about Andy Dufresne is that nobody ever saw him coming.
Nice.
You'd be standing alone in the shower, then bam, there's Andy.
Jamie.
Nice.
Yes. Well done, my
Jesus
man.
Christ. The entire time, and we never knew that we were just finding out that he's a master impressionist.
Yeah, I don't know. I just try it. I go for it.
That was good, Jamie.
That was great.
That was good. James, your celebrity impression is Nicolas Cage.
Oh my
Damn
god!
it! I knew you were gonna hit me with this. Shit. Ugh. It's a hard one to do. I don't. Oh, God, that was going to sound like Jimmy Stewart, old Jimmy Stewart. So I'm wondering about your diner here. You got some good pie in the window, but it looks burned, and I'm wondering, how did it get burned? 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 How did it get burned?
Wow. Shane,
He's got the crazy down.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Okay, so now we're on to Tabby.
Yes.
Tabby,
Yes.
your celebrity impression, and this is going to be a tough one. I'm very sorry.
Oh God.
Sir Ian McKellen.
Yes,
You
Go for
shall not pass. That's all I got.
That's pretty good.
All right. Are we on to Colin now?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, Colin. Okay, Colin, I've got a good one for you. Your celebrity impression is Keanu Reeves.
Oh no, the choices. See, the problem is in John Wick.
Bill and Ted Quo.
In John Wick, he doesn't say anything.
Right.
So
no.
Say bang, bang, bang.
He says stuff in the Matrix.
bang, 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 bang.
He says stuff in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Speed.
Ooh, do Keanu Reeves from Bram Stoker with his British accent.
Oh no.
No, we want Keanu Reeves doing a Keanu Reeves accent. I want Keanu Reeves from fucking the
Matrix?
Last Day on Earth or whatever.
Listen,
that fucking
you-
robot movie that he did.
Listen, you fuck. This is John Constantine.
Okay.
No, Colin, do Keanu Reeves from fucking from Bill and Ted. do the bro, Colin. Do the bro, Keanu.
Whoa.
There you go. That's good enough.
Yeah.
But Bill, those are historical babes.
See what I know.
He said, "Welcome to the Hall of Presidents."
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh, Colin, I love it.
The movie is far better than my impression of the movie. I used to do a good Keanu, but I lost it over the years. Like, whoa, I'm Ortiz, the dog boy. That's a deep cut for Keanu.
Okay, so next up is Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny, I'm gonna give you an impression of someone that I've always felt like you should do an impression of. Steve Buscemi.
I can't believe this. I get no respect.
Well done.
He's like around behind or something.
That was a pretty good stall.
Thank you.
All right, that was pretty fucking good. And last up, the last ever celebrity impression, Chris Arsenault. I would like you to do a Christopher Walken for me.
Yay!
Well, yeah.
Well, the key with Christopher Walken is you kind of gotta ease into it because you don't want it to sneak up on you. And, you know, he's a little bit all over with the voice. And then, bam! He's not even there.
Chris.
It's like Creeper Chris.
Right?
Love it.
I tried my best. It was, yeah.
I cannot do Creeper
I felt
Walken,
like
but
that
I
was-
can do Goofy
Oh,
Walken. Yeah.
look, listeners.
I felt like that was a Christian Slater doing
Right?
No, I noticed my
Christian
doing
Slater.
a little bit of...
Christian Slater
Yeah.
is constantly doing a Jack Nicholson.
Oh, I thought he was doing Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
No, he's doing an impression of Ray Liotta doing an impression of Jack Nicholson. Got it?
Listeners,
But have you ever danced with the devil?
the inches that you need.
All right.
Who's the
Are
winner
all-
we need?
So the winner, because the biggest laugh that I got through this entire fucking thing was when John rocked in with fucking Rodney Dangerfield when I was in a Johnny.
Yay!
The guy who never wins.
Johnny,
John, you rocked that.
are we watching anything next week?
No, we are not, Eric, because this is our last episode.
So, John, what are you doing next? What's on board?
Yeah,
Give
tell
us-
us what's to
I'm
come.
going to Disney World.
May old acquaintance
Dance
be
be
forgot and never brought
We already
Since
No.
we forgot
and
old lang syne.
No, John, tell the people, what do we got coming up on the docket?
Well, I know for me, I am going to be hosting a supernatural podcast.
Another TV show?
That's right.
Yes, it's all about the. I probably should have rephrased that. I'm going to be hosting a paranormal podcast. Yes. Basically, we're going to be collecting all sorts of weird, wild, and wonderful stories and presenting them to people in sort of like a 3-act format. And so it should be a really good time. We're going to have different people being interviewed. We're going to have some really fun stories, hopefully some really creepy stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Always been a little bit of a favorite of mine. And so it'll be a good time.
Eric's too.
There's only one rule if you want to contribute a story to John's upcoming podcast. Just think like Parappa the Rapper. You got to do what? You got to believe.
I want to believe.
So, John.
Yes. The name.
Ooh, I got the name for you, John.
Yes.
John Spook Hunt.
No.
John likes the spook hunt.
No.
John does the spook hunt.
No. Shame.
John loves the spook hunt. That's it. John loves the spook hunt.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
You cannot call it John Spook Hunt.
Spook hunt. What's wrong with
This
spook
is more
hunt?
of your racist shit, isn't it? It's more of your racist shit. That's not right. That's racist.
Jeez, stop, please. Alright, so, yeah. But, I mean, if anybody's interested...
Go ahead and give the name, John.
Thanks, James. If anybody's interested, while there's no real web presence for it yet, keep your eye out for Dark Corners. It's going to be, it should be a really good time. Go ahead, definitely check it out. We got a lot of great stuff coming up.
It's going to be awesome.
And John, to send you out, I actually got you a little themed gift to celebrate your new venture.
Dropping now.
Oh, no.
It's a haunted burrito.
Oh!
Just throw that bitch in the fried Eddie.
You'll see why it's haunted.
Because it comes back.
You got to double tap it.
Spooky burrito.
All right, well. Does anybody have anything else for our listeners before we close this thing down officially?
Spook hunt.
John, here's what I want to say. Fuck you, John. I love my dad. I'm out.
All right.
Wow.
Thanks for listening. I hope it's been as fun for y'all as it's been for us.
Yeah, but it hasn't.
Good night, everybody.
Style, class, distinction. The YARP phone from Vlarf Industries. Have you ever wanted to make space calls to Dimension X? Well, this is the phone for you.
So fantastic.
So sleek and smooth. YARP phone.
Where's the autocorrect feature on this?
Oh, it doesn't have that.
There's no autocorrect.
How do you spell Vlarf?
VLLARGHFPH.
No, that's not right. What the hell? I'm trying to call my mom.
You can't make terrestrial calls with Vlarf YARP phone.
Who can I call?
You can only make space calls to Dimension X with the YARP phone. YARP phone by Vlarf Industries. Called Stop saying Dimension X!
So I can call myself in another dimension?
Yeah. Imagine If you had just asked out the captain of the cheerleading squad back in high school,
Because he's really hot.
you can call that version of James.
Hey, is this me? Yeah, it is. Wow, have you got the Yarp phone too? I sure do. Looks like things aren't all that different. Yeah, I'm a total fucking loser here too.
Dimension X. Hey, I'm the captain of the cheerleading squad. So meta. Me and James have a very happy life together. Yarp phone.
I'm not gay.
It was an all-male cheerleading squad.
Dimension X.
Dimension X. Yarp phone by Flarf Industries. Make special space calls in time, space, Dimension X. By Flarf. I will remember you forever. I
Good night,
love
everybody.
you. I don't care how racist James and Jamie get.
So summation, fuck you, John. Fuck you, listeners. I love everybody.
Yes, that's the truth.
John,
Well, I gotta
Eric,
go
Chris,
eat.
Jamie, everybody,
Yep.
you guys are awesome. This has been fun. I love you guys, but I
Gotta
gotta
go get to that sweet
Yep.
16
Bye,
party.
Daddy.
Bye.
I'll see you guys
Bye,
later.
Colin.
Thanks for
Gotta go
being
see
here,
ya.
okay?
See you guys.
I'm going to do drugs now.
Bye.
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 Legit
Bye.
X.